Well, hi, and welcome to a video. This is not a VOD. This is not a short. This is not a live, but we're making a video here today on the channel, which I haven't done in quite a long time. Lately, I've just been really enjoying making the short shorts that I've been creating for y'all. I love just sitting down, playing a game and recording it, and then later on write up my thoughts and a summary of the game and turning it into a little short. This is going to be of me just playing a gameplay video, if you will, because I used to do this all the time on my channel, especially on days when I didn't feel like streaming. But yeah, I'm up to streaming this one. Not streaming. See? Anyway, we're gonna play the Big Hollow 1982. This game is by DANGEN Entertainment and Cram's Design. I believe DANGEN Entertainment is the publisher and Cram's Design is the developer. This is the first title by this particular developer. I'm excited to see what it was. Let me pull up the summary real quick. Can you think like a killer? In this short murder mystery, find details in evidence, interpret criminal behaviors, and prove your worth to the FBI as new Detective Osmond. When I asked for a key for this game, I came in with a thought. It reminded, well, the main title reminded me of Tollkeeper in 1998, which I plan to get back into that game because there have been quite a few updates since we finished playing it. The last time, there's a character creation, I believe, and then there's also a endless mode, where you just going through all the cars, and I think that'd be really interesting to play one day. Anyway, we're not talking about that game, but this game made me think of it because they both have a year in the title. But we're gonna go ahead and start off this game. We'll see how much we can play. I don't have much time for myself this evening, but we'll see how much we can get done. Just to get a little taste of the game, and then afterwards we'll see if I want to maybe continue on this game on another day. And yeah, let me know how you feel about it as well. Let me know how you feel about pre-recorded stuff, because I know it's been a while since I've done it and I just haven't felt like doing it lately. Streaming has been good. I've been keeping up consistently with that, but yeah, this week I had like an extra day in between stuff, so I thought I'd come over here and do a little pre-recording, a little bit of time to myself with a game, game, and my thoughts. Anyway, let's start a new game. Wait, options. Okay, great. We'll go ahead and start a new game. We'll make sure the camera's in the right place and whatnot. Ma, you sleeping? Okay, so no voice acting. I'm gonna have to do this. Ma? Got an option to open the door. I'm coming in, okay? Don't be mad. Looks like a hoarding situation. Or they could just be really messy. Who knows? We barely know Ma. I don't reckon she left me no pie anyhow. Her things is all still here. My stuff. More of my stuff. A fan. Bed. I don't see her. Why don't I see her? Mirror. Ma? Ma, hello? Ma? Oh, scared me. Oh no. Oh. Oh, that's grim. Looks like I'm alone. I don't know how I should feel about this. Whenever I was with her, I was sure that she didn't even like me. I guess maybe this is a good thing? No, time to get out of your head, Desmond. She should be here any moment now. You'll find that this is about as soon as You'll find out what this is about soon enough. Desk. Special Agent Trainer Lenore Davidson. She ran behavioral science classes for us recruits here and there.
Why, though?
Hello, voice. Why, though? But why, of all people, has she called me here, and where is she? Looks like a photo of Lenore's inauguration into the FBI. Not sure about this other one, though. Huh. Seems to be on FBI rejection letter from Hoover himself, no less. Wonder what the story is. Well, maybe they said, hey. She's like, I was rejected and now I'm here. Looks like she runs a tight ship, especially compared to the other SSAs I've reported to.
Oh?
Lenore was a
Really?
beat cop? Now this I'd like to have seen. Probably where she adopted that no-nonsense stare-down techniques of hers. The seal and Federal Bureau of Investigation, the symbol of the FBI. Without much other decoration, this isn't really doing wonders for the Iron Lady moniker hanging over her. Oh, is that what I think there is? Are those crime scene photographs? We'll just have a gander. That's some crime scenes. Interesting. Seems like 2 different homicide victims. Something Lenore's investigating. Oh, she might be investigating a serial killer. They must have like an MO. I watch crime. Hold on. With her BSU connections, could this be one of those investigations? Wonder if I can work on anything out from these. Take a closer look. Why don't you? I mean, while I'm here waiting, I might as well see what I can see. I might as look at what I can see. This girl's mouth was tied up. Like, the mom in the beginning. No shoes. Is this us? Wait. What if we just... This is us. This is who we are. This is our little head, our little thinking cap. I'm gonna keep my head here.
It has to be.
So then, what is it that has Lenore looking over these 2 together? It must be something they have in common. Body position. Her posture here, it's awkward. I'm not sure she simply fell this way. Her legs to be open towards the road like that seems like she's being humiliated to me. Oh, and her arms were tied. You know, come to think of it, I don't have my things with me here. I could just... Oh, write some notes.
Well, I've come this far.
Might as well do it like I was trained. So then what else can I make from these? She was gagged with underwear, too. Perhaps her own. Ew. It takes time and control. Very deliberate. Clear ligature mark. Strangulation is likely the cause of death. Definitely some kind of abrasion here. I would assume some sort of restraint used. But then why remove one kind of restraint just to leave another? Only one shoe on could be that it fell off as she was dumped. The way the mud built on the side and the width too, something big and heavy made these tracks. A truck trailer, perhaps? The second shoe here is clearly hers. These cigarette butts nearby too. Really? How do we know that? Was her killer bold enough to hang around and admire what he'd done? Some do. Now that's interesting. A handbag means identification, something the killer would promptly like to normally like to delay. So then one has to wonder, what does the relationship have between the killer and victim?
That's that then.
I think that's the main points from this photo, at least. All right, we'll look at this one next. Odd thing, isn't it, to be driving without shoes? But, this is interesting. Some kind of scratching on her soles? I'm no expert, but this combination of clothes looks off. Not to mention the undone button in the middle. Something's not right with it. Like she was dressed hastily. Looks like abrasion matching both arms, so she was restrained at some point then. I'm no expert with this. Oh, I've already read this. The swelling and bruising on her face is really quite severe. Early onset too, so these occurred close to the time of her death. It's not quite easy to make out, but there's some kind of abrasions on the side of her mouth. The way the blood pooled too makes me wonder, was something in place there earlier? Like a gag? It's a strange shape, but I'm fairly sure this mark is from a ligature, thick with a circular shape of some sort at the end. Despite the beating, I would think this was strangulation that killed her. We did the face, we did her clothes. Oh. Hard to tell from this, granted, but I'm fairly sure that's resting in neutral.
Okay.
Seems like that's everything. In light of their details, I do wonder... Are they connected? There are certainly similarities, but are there enough? So then, care to tell me what you're thinking? Oh no. Oh.
Oh, well,
Hey, Lynn, ma'am, I was just...
Really?
You are Ward, aren't you? Desmond Ward?
right.
That's me.
So then, Desmond, tell me.
I don't care much for repeating myself. Oh, no, of course not. Sorry, what was the question? The photographs, Desmond. What do you make of them? Is she mad at me for looking at them? I can't tell. She shouldn't be mad. They're just sitting out there. Was it the same killer? I think you'd have to suggest there's at least cause for connecting them, right? You don't sound so certain. Are you asking me or telling me? Well, the thing is, there are differences between them. It's certainly not clean cut.
Could it be?
The similarities are there. It's hard to say, really. Hard to say if this is a serial murderer. This is the BSU, Desmond. You can use the term. It's a safe space. These serial killer profiles have been the talk of the Bureau the past few years, an exciting new analytical approach to solving repeat offender murders. It's exactly why I've been trying to get time from anyone in the behavioral science unit. Why I was intrigued by this invitation, only... I guess it's just that. I'm not really trained on what this is about just yet. The programs here aren't big profiling or serial homicide, old dogs and new tricks, I'm afraid. I hear you majored in sociology, which helps some. A minor in psych, too, yes?
Oh, well,
Yes, ma'am. It was mostly introductory classes.
Really?
Introductory. And your instructors tell me it was my lectures that had you interested in the BSU. What you said about offender behaviors and how we interpret them to better understand crimes, I think this is the future of homicide investigation, to be able to find murderers just by thinking how they think. Something like this is key to my work as a future agent, ma'am.
There is more to it, though.
But I suppose as a concept is as good a starting point as any. Starting point? Just a little exercise of sorts, a case unit just recently assisted on. If it's BSU experience you want, then come. Let's see what mind reading you're capable of. The case they're already finished with? She wanted me to find the photographs? This is some sort of what? Evaluation? Alright, okay. Keep focused here, Desmond. You've been waiting for a chance like this. Don't let yourself down now. Ooh. So the first thing you should know is that you'll largely process this like any other case you've trained with.
It's there in the evidence.
Start following from the beginning. Follow the evidence and work the angles. That's the only way to understand the behaviors. And since you're already familiar with the two victims, we can jump straight in.
Oh?
Oh, well, I did have a little look. I think familiar might be a stretch, though.
Desmond.
Come on now, this is all just logic. Look, I'll even start you off easy. Take the victim on the left. How would you have said about identifying her? What would have mostly identified her? The purse? Surely the handbag, right? Assuming there's a license or something similar. Good. See, it's not that hard. Like I said, as long as you follow the logic. With this left here, she was easily identified as one Bonnie Hayes. Miss Hayes' body was discovered not far from where she lived. A local found her on the shoulder of a back road. Our second victim on the right was found by deer hunters. The car she had been driven in quite deep into a forest. She was identified through the car's registration one as Ida Rothermund, and also found not far from where she lived. One in the back road, one inside the car in a forest, both close to their homes. Both late 20s, and importantly, no signs of struggle around either body, which means those were likely not the primary crime scenes, the scenes of their murders, but rather the disposal sites. That's an important part of linking serial murder cases, isn't it? The way each body has been left behind?
Perhaps.
If similar enough, since you have the urge to impress, then elaborate if you could.
Oh, well...
On linking offender behaviors... I'm paraphrasing here, but the way an offender acts during their crime will reveal aspects of them as a person. The evidence they leave behind reveals the choices they made, and those choices tell us a lot. What they desired or feared, hated. So if crimes showed repeated patterns of behavior, repeated signs of that same personality...
Not bad.
Then it could be a repeat offender. Yes, well then. What would you suggest here? Could we claim there were similarities in how the offender disposed of the victim? They're similar.
Here's what I'm thinking.
On the surface, they might seem to have their differences, but I'm not completely convinced. A back road, a forest, both are relatively secluded areas, both near the victims' homes. Quite valid reasoning, I'll give you that, but tell me.
There is more to it.
Would you not agree that there is considerably more effort made here to hide one body over the other? That's true, so that's a start,
right.
But I guess we need more information, more context. Well, proximity must be a fairly large factor. How close are they to each other?
Now you're getting somewhere.
You're certainly asking the right questions. Miss Hayes was found close to Briar Hollow, an old and mostly defunct logging town on the northern outskirts of Cumberland. Miss Rothermund and her car were closer to Hickory Ridge, North Trenton, a fuel junction with a few residents, not much else.
In fact...
Thing is, both were found off the same back road connecting the town to the fuel junction, barely 2 miles apart.
Oh?
But then they
Really?
must be connected. A small back road? 2 small populaces?
Not quite, Desmond.
Don't get ahead of yourself. This is about context, as you said, and we have a good reason to believe the suspect pool could be significantly wider.
Let's see here.
Have a close look at this and keep in mind this is all about logical reasoning. What do you think this is an indication of, and why this might not be a local offender? That the offender might not just be a local. Might not just be a local. Might not. Is that possible? Maybe the way her shoe was disposed here? Maybe the way she was disposed? The body position?
Could it be?
Could it have been with this?
Are you sure
I'm not
about
quite sure
that?
what the logic lies in your thinking, but it's not the more obvious factor here. What I had in mind were tire tracks. Okay, that was kind of my second. What do they look like to you? A deep and wide impression, that means a truck. If we're starting to into truck drivers, then
Oh.
we could be looking at anyone and everyone
If
who took
that's the
deliveries
case.
through the area. When you consider the main highway passing through Hickory Ridge, that's not such a small pool of suspects after all. So then, where does that leave us? We've discussed 2 offender behaviors, body disposal, and area of offensive. But that's simply not
The
enough.
evidence tells the story.
What we need to consider are all of the evident behaviors together before we can all call this a series or not, so... You'll need this notebook. Go ahead and take a look so we can get started. I don't know if y'all can see. Alright, I've taken the liberty of simplifying the remaining identifiable behaviors to these 5.
Let's see what you make
From
of
here, I'd like to
this.
see your ability to compare each on your own.
Oh, well...
But hold on, overkill? Staging or posing? I'm not sure how I know what you mean exactly.
Desmond.
Have a little courage. If you just If you want guidance on the term, let me know and I'll break it down
It's
for
there
you.
in the evidence.
Otherwise, review the evidence, think about what makes sense for each, and then make your decisions. Reasonably decent, she says. How did I ever doubt myself? Lenore's a tough customer, but this is really it. A chance with the BSU.
Okay, Desmond. You
Let's
can
not
do
rush
this.
it. Take your time. You don't want to fall at the starting line. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, cause of death? Well, the cause of death, I mean, they were, yes. Restraints utilized, they were similar. Weapons? I don't even know what that means. I would assume that's the same as strength. I guess we can ask her. You don't have anything concrete on how either woman died, so use your best judgment here. Based on what can be seen, what will be the most likely reason each woman died? Well, Desmond said that they seem to have both died from the strangulation. Restraints refers to basically anything used by the offender to limit the victim's physical abilities. Usually they restrict movements, but it can also be about minimizing the victim's ability to make noise. Weapons, whatever was utilized in the act of murdering their victim is what we want to consider specifically here. I mean, I don't think there were both. I guess no. Generally speaking, force against the victim, which wasn't necessary in actually causing the victim's death. Here I'm particularly interested in an indication of emotion from the offender rather than a control attack. Signs of overkill? I mean, there weren't really. They were definitely staged and posed. I'm not sure about the weapons one, but I just... Let's see here.
Not quite.
Well, you're close. More than half are right by my count. Okay. Push for another chance.
Well,
Because she said I have more than
come
half
this far.
right. So I want to say yes, same weapons. Let's see
Not
here.
quite,
You're close. More than
Desmond.
half are right.
well, I've come this far.
They're all similar, then. If anything.
You can do better than
This is a little disappointing. Oh, if they were just wrong, maybe two. When it's more than that, though. Okay, now we have more than one wrong.
I've come this far.
Okay, so we don't really know what the cause of death is, but they're similar in the way they are. They do feel like it was staged or posed. Okay, what does she think now? Let's see here.
Not quite, Desmond.
You're close.
Well, I've come this far.
I don't understand. Restraints utilized. They were similar. They both have wrist abrasions. Weapons utilized. I still think that they... I don't know. I think I'm just gonna...
Not quite, Desmond.
I'm gonna ask for her expertise.
Oh, well...
I prefer not to make it a guessing game. Maybe
maybe
it's
not
time you
then.
show me a few pointers here. Yeah, tell me. Good, let's break this down then. First, cause of death. This is reasonably clear. Both victims have ligature marks around their necks.
In fact,
Strangulation is the most likely cause for both women, which in fact turned out to be the case. Okay. Now the restraints. Both women have clearly matching marks on the wrists from the restraints, but not only
there's
that,
more to it,
the
though.
bruising around Ida's mouth by the way the blood has pooled in her face. It's subtle, but it's there. Both women were also gagged during their attacks. Yeah. Now, things are a little more interesting here. We both know they were strangled, however. The impressions on each victim's necks, the ligature marks, differ, and in strangulations. That is the weapon we are considering.
If that's the case...
Does that mean it was a different offender? Not necessarily, but even so, the change in the exact ligature is significant. This can be a difficult one to the untrained eye, but you've done well.
In fact...
With Ida's bruising not having time to fully form, it must have occurred during the time of her death, or just before. Was this violence used to control her? She was already restrained, so no, that's not likely. But since Bonnie had no such injuries, we simply can't discount this important difference here. Okay. And lastly, staging or posing. Another tricky one. I mean, they're not the same, but they were definitely been repositioned. Bonnie was posed, positioned in a way to degrade and humiliate her. Ida, on the other hand, was not positioned in a way to present what the inventor had done. Far from it, actually. But her clothes were all disheveled. That's embarrassing. Ida was in fact staged, repositioned in an attempt to deceive investigators.
The evidence...
Remember, staging to deceive, posing for ritual or symbols, similar, but in actuality, quite different. Whatever. So there we have it. For your first foray into linkages...
Nicely deduced.
That was good work, Desmond. I'm impressed. Just a regular guy. So the victims are restrained in similar ways, but we don't know if it was the same unique gag. Both are strangled, but with different ligature. Plus the difference in posing and staging.
I wonder.
Are they in the same road, but in all of the said, is that enough? A little more critical on your suspicions now, That's good. I like to see it. What we need is an aspect of the offender's behavior that is significant, something undeniably from the same person.
Let's see here.
Let's go back to what you just mentioned. The gag used against Bonnie. You described it as unique? Well, it's so deliberate. There are so much easier ways to gag someone. He used to go out of his way to do it.
Exactly.
Which means it likely fills an important need for the offender. He's driven to do it. So then, what if we can prove that this unique behavior, the same type of gag, was utilized during Ida's homicide? Oh, but I missed something? I didn't think I saw anything related to a gag. You can see the blood. The blood tells all. It's not always about what is seen, Desmond, but also what can be deduced.
So then, Desmond,
think carefully. What do we need to examine here in order to know if Ida had the same gag as Bonnie? The blood. The blood.
Could it be?
Could it be that there's traces of her underwear from there where it was on her face? Impressions? Threads?
Not bad.
That's not too bad. There were some traces, yes, but that was the evidence of what was much similar to find. For Ida's underwear to have been used as a gag, she would have been wearing them anymore. Either that or they'd be back on her, which as it turns out was the case. The presence of blood and saliva on the underwear gave it away. It matched perfectly the position as a gag.
Ah, okay.
Okay, I see. So he redressed her? I didn't think something was odd about her clothing. Presumably part of a staging process.
Huh.
Right, redressed her for the staging. The same back road, restraints, strangled, same unique gag. I keep thinking the word is egg instead of gag. At this point, it's quite compelling. The behavioral links are difficult to deny. This is likely a repeat offender, and these two cases should be investigated with that case in mind. But then, despite the similarities, the victims are still so different. You know, all this time, it seemed like it was differences that made this harder to investigate, but now I think it's exactly those differences that will help find the man who did it. Oh, is that then?
It has to be.
It's like you say, if you follow the logic of why he did what he did, it can only mean one thing. It can only mean that he was known to one victim much more than the other.
Perhaps.
Interesting. You have my undivided attention, Desmond.
Well, I've come this far.
You're in on it now. I hope I'm right about this. The difference between the crime scene suggests the killer was known to Bonnie.
Here's what I'm thinking.
The difference is the intentionality between Bonnie's positioning. To be humiliated like that. Maybe if he knew Bonnie, this was revenge of some sort?
Are you sure about that?
I do believe you're overlooking details here. Did you forget the fact that there was no effort made to hide the identity of Bonnie? Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Not particularly
right.
helpful for him if he was known to associate of hers. The central need for a murderer connected to a victim is to obfuscate that connection. body was presented by him like he wanted to show off what he'd done.
In fact,
He even left evidence of himself there. The 2 Windsor bolts he smoked standing over her.
Yeah. That
Right.
makes
He didn't
sense.
care if she was found or even identified because he knew he couldn't be traced from her. With Ida, though, everything we've discussed, it was about him distancing the chance of being found out.
there is more
Okay,
to
I
it,
didn't.
though.
I wasn't thinking about it that way. There's much more to be said on how he went about that. The staging that we've touched on here. Let me see those notes of yours, Desmond. Perhaps you already noticed what I'm referring to.
Oh, well...
Notes? Well, I mean, I jotted a few things down, but I don't know if they're, you know.
Desmond.
This playing coy is growing tiresome.
Right.
I mean, you know, it was a rough practice more than anything else. It's not bad. You did at least pick up on 2 crucial details. Let's start with those. Don't be coy, she says. Here, hand me that notebook again. Questions answered with facts from the crime scenes. This is the foundation of any investigation.
Let's see what you make
From
of
here on,
this.
I'd like to see you apply your own operations, your evidence, to solve the questions we find.
It's there in the evidence.
Think on it. What are 2 details that you noticed that could infer she wasn't the one actually driving? The car was in neutral and she wasn't wearing shoes. I expect more thorough thinking here, no more pot shots. Okay. Oh. The lever. Excuse me. The shift lever and her feet. Oh, do I have to click and drag here? Ah, okay. Yeah. While certainly not definitive, the lack of shoes at the very least could be raising questions for an investigator. Perhaps she prefers driving barefoot, or perhaps she wasn't actually the one driving. Well spotted. To stage Ida in the driver's seat, we're clearly being led to believe she somehow drove herself there. If this were some sort of self-induced accident, though, then how would the shift come to be in neutral? Yeah, we did it.
If that's the case.
So despite the fact that both these aspects could potentially be explained, together they form one key suspicion. Did Ida really drive this car into the woods barefoot and have the capacity to put the car back into neutral afterwards? Right, but you seem to suggest there was something I missed with my notes too. Yes, well, take a look at how Ida is positioned here physically. The car seat! She's not close enough.
What do you think?
Doesn't something about it seem off to you? Make it slightly and highly unlikely that she was driving? Short girl. Short girl.
Okay.
I see it now. That's where her seat is. It's so far back.
Not bad.
Not bad, Desmond. Better late than never. Once you notice how far back the seat is set, it's clear that Ida could not have comfortably driven this car.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Whoever was driving was tall. Taller than Ida, at least. So the seat, the missing shoes, the car in neutral, the offender has at least attempted to stage this as, what, a car crash? Further proof that this was about him distancing himself, about him knowing we were the victim more than the other. That makes 2 established ideas. We have a repeat offender and one that is known to Ida.
So then, Desmond, tell me.
Where are you going to start this investigation? Oh, me? Well,
Desmond.
really, we spoke about this.
Right.
The bottom line here is learning more about Ida, I would think. I would start by going back to her home, see what can be gathered from there.
Why is that?
Why do you think it is that you do that? Well, it was nearby. Could something have happened there? Or at least it's a starting point, learning about Ida. I'm not talking about the case, Desmond. I'm talking about you, this defensiveness. I'm sorry, I'm not sure I follow, ma'am. You're shying away from taking the initiative, but not always. Why do you think that is? Does something in particular intimidate you, Mr. Ward? Why is she... Am I intimidated? Is this part of the test? Why is she... Am I intimidated? Is this part... I think he's intimidated by her. Because he's looked up to her. If I'm honest, ma'am, I probably am intimidated, at least a little. It was at times hard to tell if you're, well... If I'm impressed. If you're disappointed. But believe me, I appreciate the opportunity and challenge. I'm ready to step up to it, ma'am. Right, I see. Interesting. Step up, you say.
Back to it, Desmond.
Good, back to it then. Now, let's try with a little more independency. You said you wanted to visit her home, so let's start with that. Road trip. Oh, we're only deducing through photos? Okay. Oh, this is a mirror photo. This is Ida's home, at least the back half of that what makes up her bedroom.
Let's see what you make of this.
Without the hand holding, this is your scene now. Oh, I thought the victim in the beginning scene was like a third victim that would like drive them to think that this was a serial murderer. Seems to be mostly cosmetic items, quite a standard array, humble even. But what is that, a radio? Seems like something is scratched into the side. Fields. What does that mean? Well, I'm quite sure it's a handheld citizen band transceiver. That much I can tell. What would I need a CB radio for? That's usually something for more truckers, huh? Oh, what's that? Garbage on the floor? Looks to be standard trash. Tissues, food waste, bottles. I'm not sure it's anything suspicious. Says more about how Ida lived, I suppose. Ermids, Luckett's, pies, Johnny's pizza, a soda bottle. It seems cheap and easy trumps nutrition. It seems cheap and easy trumps nutrition. We got it. The way some of these drawers have been pulled out seems like someone was going through them in a hurry. Was someone looking for something? Could this have been a robbery? So we've looked at everything here. Okay, next photo. The bin! Hard to make out if there's anything useful in there or not, but hold on. Is that... the cigarettes? Is that a newspaper? Did it have a date?
Not bad.
Good eye, it is, and that was a particularly important item. The last report citing of Ida was the same date in the paper. It was the early hours of the very next morning that her body was then found in her car.
Okay.
So I'm not in a
Good to
big window
know.
of time here. Ida was at home then, at least some point during the day she was murdered.
Exactly.
It would seem so, particularly when you take into account what else was left behind. On top of the paper were 2 used condoms and a few tissues to go with them.
Oh,
2?
really?
That could even be the offender's blood type on the record. More if you count the other condoms of a different blood type underneath the newspaper. Okay, good to know. That's multiple partners then. At least one had to have been there on the day she went missing, though, but who? Looks to be fairly standard trash. Bit of an odd setup, bore mattress, mismatching pillow, and a blanket. A lack of upkeep. Blank notepad, an empty jar, and an ashtray. I'm pretty sure that logo on the lighter is a car rental brand, actually. Just wondering, with these cigarettes, do we know if they were all Ida's? Anything forensics could pull? These butts rarely retain any prints or even traceable blood types, which was the case here, too. What can I tell you for what it's worth is that they were all Red Valley cigarettes.
Huh.
Good to know, only one brand.
Good to know.
First, I wonder if there might be evidence of blood or cleaning here, but no, just a few toothbrushes and nothing else. Carpet? Those scratches in the carpet are real deep. They seem to radiate from the same spot, too. From exactly the same point where the stain is, actually. What is that? What is that? What stain? There's something we missed in here. Garbage on the floor, drawers. I'm missing something. What about that frame? Looks like someone took out the picture and signed. The frame's been dumped unceremoniously. Actually, that seems to be everything here, at least from what I can make out. But Lenore wants to see initiative. Well, I suppose if nothing else, this does leave me wondering. What stain are they talking about? It's like a bleach
Not
stain or
bad.
something here, maybe? I thought that was sunlight or something. Quite a few different angles there, and quite the story in between them. I imagine you'll be needing these then.
Oh?
Hold on, there's a third photograph here. Yes, well, I held back on this earlier to focus on the linkages. Far from the last of the evidence to be introduced to. From here on, I'll reveal the rest as you should have normally found when working the case, just so you know. Bleach. What you see here is the back seat of Ida's car, as it was found along with her body. Remember, Desmond, the devil is in the detail. Keep up with this momentum now. I mean, jeans and a mix of shirts mostly. One seems to be labeled with faded company logo. Wilbur is all I can make out, though. There's quite a lot, though. Would Ida have worn these? Carried them around in her car like that? An opaque container of some sort. Toxic, going by what I can see on the label. Bleach. It seems to have a white-colored residue around the lid. Some kind of detergent? Bleach. What is in here? A notebook? Do we know what was written inside?
In fact,
At the time of finding it, what it was used for was unclear. The book was quite new and entirely blank. That is, at least for the pages that weren't torn out, there was one missing.
Oh, I see.
Was it recovered then, the missing page? Of course not. It was probably consumed! Not exactly, no. Not exactly. What does that mean? Oh, we've already looked at the loose clothes. Sheet? Seems like an old sheet of some kind. There's a lot of it bundled up down there. On the bed! We done? We good? Oh. Is the stain related to Ida's murder? I mean... the jug? Check. Nicely done. The presence of the stain and the home in the bottle here should certainly be raising flags. The stain was indeed caused by bleach. Bleach! Which was entirely what the box was contained. Okay. Proof Ida was attacked in her home. The scratch marks. Let's hold on to that thought. Look to your other questions first. The implication of all three together should be interesting.
back to it, Desmond.
Okay. Notebook, sheet. Injuries to her home. Can we wait? Can we look at? I'm thinking of the scratches. Drawers, garbage on floor, bin, bed, bedside table, sink, carpet, scratch. Injuries to her home. Maybe the photo frame? Or the drawers. The deep scratches are perhaps the clearest indicator of a struggle at Hyder's home, yes. Now, whether the scratches happened as a result of this attack, we can't say, not with this evidence alone.
Are you sure about
I'm
that?
not quite sure what you have in mind, but I suggest it isn't the clearest evidence we have. Okay.
Back to it, Desmond.
All right. Then I'll say the photo frame.
Are you sure about that?
Not quite sure.
Back to it, Desmond.
Evidence that connects Ida's injuries to her home. Items on the counter, bin. The bed? Oh, maybe the sheet? I don't know. Can we say the bed first? But then if that's not right, we can check the sheet. I do believe I see where you're going with this, but you're getting ahead of yourself. It would be better to establish evidence in the attack itself. The murder occurred in Ida's home. What happened after that can wait. Okay.
Back to it, Desmond.
Okay. So we go to the sheet. You're getting ahead of yourself. Evidence that the attack itself, the murder, occurred. What happened after that can wait.
Back to it, Desmond.
So, evidence that connects her injuries to her home. At her clothes?
Are you sure about that?
No.
Back to it, Desmond.
I guess I don't know, bin? The bin or the drawers? Because the next amp was Ida Rock. Maybe we'll do the drawers.
Are you sure about
Not
that?
quite sure. But we
Back
were
to it, Desmond.
we're close with the sheets and the bed. Maybe the bedside table. No.
Are you sure about that?
Ah.
Back to it, Desmond.
Didn't I see the photo frame already? She was the sign that she was attacked in her home. Feet, her clothes, her wrists, shift lever, loose clothes, jug, notebook, sheet. Did I say her clothes already?
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Oh no, was Ida wrong? What was likely taken from Ida's home and where? That I can answer. That can I say it's the drawers in the photo frame. It did make me consider robbery, particularly with the way the drawers on the right are pulled out like that. Interesting too, that was only one end of the drawers, like they knew what they were after.
Are you sure about that?
Not quite sure what you have in mind here, but I suggest it isn't the clearest evidence. Okay.
Back to it, Desmond.
No. I don't know. Garbage on floor? Oh, the newspaper.
Are you sure about that?
Okay. Okay, we go back.
Back to it, Desmond.
Yep, back to it. Attacked in her home. The garbage, no. The bedside table. No, the bin. Because the newspaper.
Are you sure about
No?
that?
Why not?
Back to it, Desmond.
In her bin, the newspaper's there. That's why we think that... Okay. Photo frame. Did I say the photo frame at all? Pillow and blanket mismatch. Garbage on the floor. I don't think it's items on the counter.
Are you sure about that?
I'm
Back
not.
to it, Desmond.
I've got all my evidence. I'm just not selecting the right thing. Evidence that connects Ida's injuries to her home. Ida's injuries to her home. 3 toothbrushes? There were 3?
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Ow. Carpet and the photo frame. So none of these are my answer. In her home, she's not wearing shoes.
Exactly.
These grazes on the underside of her feet are certainly evidence of her struggle against the attack on her. Of everything that happened to Ida, this is indeed the injury that can be linked to her trailer. Compelling, isn't it? We both know what this evidence is pointing to, but I wonder, is it enough? Let's hold that one thought. One more question now. The torn journal page in her car. Seeing as this notebook has been tampered with, it suggests there was something inside it that someone didn't want seen.
Not bad.
Not bad, that's good logic. It very well might have been, and we'll get to that. For now, though, something else warrants discussion, something that logically makes more sense considering Ida's home.
Back to
What?
it, Desmond.
We were so close! What? What was likely taken from Ida's home and where? Garbage on the floor, drawers, bin. Well, I said the photo frame before, but she said no.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
I wonder. I guess I should have paid more attention to what she was saying because I thought I was right with the notebook. Can we see the bleach?
Are you sure about
No.
that? Back to it, Desmond.
Maybe we should say, okay, loose clothes. On their own in the car, they just gave Ida the appearance of being tidy and messy, but paired with the details of Ida's home, perhaps there's a more likely reason for their presence. Okay. Men's clothes in the car, empty drawers in the home. Curious, isn't it? I'd say it's reasonable to suggest they were taken, but of all the things to take. Well, then let me put it this way. How does it fit with what we already know, particularly when you consider this? What if I were to say that there were no signs of forced entry into Ida's home?
If that's the case,
How does that add up with a robbery? Doesn't that complicate things? Does it complicate what we've theorized? No, because she could have let them in willingly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you look at what we've already established, we've deduced the murder was known to Ida, so really he wouldn't have needed to break in.
exactly.
because she would have likely invited him in. Good, then at least you're staying on top of your own story. With that said, would this robbery have even happened? I would suppose it just didn't want them found, at least not in Ida's
Could
home.
it be?
This is the murder continuing to hide his connection to her, isn't it? These clothes belong to him. Perhaps Ida was at least close enough to someone that they had space for their own clothes. Right, exactly, only something isn't adding up here. If he wanted to hide these from being seen, this doesn't really make sense.
Why, though?
Why leave the clothes in the car to be found with the body and to help point investigators right to him?
There is more to it.
Ah, yes, that would bring us back to the deer hunters who found the car. Now, you see, it wasn't the sound of a car being driven into the woods that drew their attention to the first place. Hold on, if they were that quick to the car, they didn't just find Ida, they interrupted her murderer. Precisely, the car was struck in an underbrush only a dozen feet or so from a drop into a river below.
Of course.
Ida in the driver's seat, the shift lever in neutral. He meant to run the car into the river, along with evidence inside.
Perhaps.
In the hopes that they would be washed away, or perhaps he intended to take them with him. Whatever the intention might have been, things didn't quite go to plan. That much seems clear.
Now you're getting
We have
somewhere.
three fairly critical puns about the relevance of Ida's home in this. Now seems to be a good time to take stock. Torn carpet, torn feet, a bleach stained by the tears, and the bleach on her car with her body, along with clothes stolen from her
If
home.
that's the case.
What exactly happened here? Care to explain what you think the narrative is? Well, at the very least, Ida had a violent struggle next to her bed. Something was cleaned up from the carpet. What exactly was cleaned, we can't say, not yet, but together with the scratches, the way Ida was murdered. This is it, isn't it? The primary crime scene. This is where Ida was strangled.
Perhaps.
It's a convincing story, but alone it could also be argued as circumstantial. Remember, Desmond, this needs to hold up in court. Who's to say when the stretches are the strain at court? Bleh. Are you sure you aren't missing anything? What else could support this as a primary crime scene?
Right.
Well? We know the offender drove Ida's car since she was already dead. He wouldn't risk driving too far. Sure enough, the car is found close to her home. The bleached, stolen clothes, an attempt to drive it all in the river?
You can do better than that.
Sure, all valid points, but it's circumstantial. The stolen clothes, the carpet, all of it can be debated and lacks of something definitive. What about what's right in front of you? Proof of the victim herself. You were close to noticing already, very close. In fact, you took notes on the very detail I have in mind when you observed Ida, so I think carefully. What observations did you make? Which detail could help deduce that she was previously at her home? What helps deduce Ida was at home when she was murdered? The shoes, her feet, her clothes.
Of course.
You mean the lack of shoes? She was clearly somewhere comfortable enough not to be wearing any.
Not bad.
That was actually quite valid reasoning. Not that I had in mind, but it certainly proves the same point. I meant the notes you took on Ida's clothes, that they appeared off, correct? A subtle but significant
In
impression.
fact.
Her own mother stated that these clothes were for church that she gifted her, and Ida swore she'd never wear them. So Ida's murderer chose these for her. He wanted to what? Look more formal, respectable?
Intriguing.
And where else would he keep the clothes she owned that didn't normally wear? In her home. At least a start to tying this narrative together more convincingly, but there's one last piece of this puzzle. The sheet here, in the footwell of the back seat, not much to make of it, right? Only thing is, that's far from the truth, and it's got everything to do with a small trace of Ida's blood found on it.
Oh?
Ida's blood for the murder. Well, this was only a small amount. Keep that in mind, but with supporting evidence, yes, it can be linked to her murder. Proving a struggle in the home is one thing, proving her disposal is another. It's the between, though, that will make this story whole. Overall, this has been really impressive work, Desmond. It won't get any easier, though, so let's see if you can keep up. Significance of the sheet in the car. What evidence can be tied to the sheet in Ida's car with blood? Blood? The bed? What evidence can be tied? A bed in the carpet? The missing sheep seem rather insidious, actually, but if this came from Ida's bed, some digging revealed the pillowcases on Ida's bed were sold exclusively as a combined scent with a specific sheep. Further blanket fibers on the sheet forensically sealed it. There's no doubt that this did, in fact, come from Ida's bed. This is jumping ahead slightly. You have the right idea, only right now you need to concentrate on just the sheet. What evidence related to it connects Ida to her home?
Back to it, Desmond.
The bin?
Are you sure about
Not
that?
quite sure.
Back to it, Desmond.
What evidence can be tied to the sheet in Ida's car with her blood in it? What evidence? The drawers? What evidence could be tied to the sheet? Did I say the bleach yet? Or maybe the notebook?
Are you sure about that?
Not quite sure.
Back to it, Desmond.
Wait. Do we just say the sheet again?
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
The notebook? Tied to the sheet. What evidence can be tied to the sheet? You see the frame? I don't know. I'm stumped.
Are you sure about
Not quite
that?
sure.
Back to it.
I forget what she said that was close. Loose clothes?
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Did I say the notebook yet? Did I say the bin? I
Are
can't
you
remember
sure
what I've
about
said
that?
before.
Back to it, Desmond.
Tied to the sheet. What evidence? Her feet? Her face? She had a nosebleed. The only injury that I can make out from the scene that could have caused is Ida's face. Makes you wonder if this was a match to Ida. What does that mean for the stain? How might that relate to all of this?
Nicely deduced.
Based on the blood type and the pattern position of the stain, the forensics made the same assessment. Ida had most certainly been covered by the sheet, and considering where it came from,
Yeah, that makes sense.
bleeding on the sheet means Ida sustained those injuries near the time it was wrapped around her before the blood dried. So we know these injuries also happened at the time of her strangulation, with the bruises still forming. It all comes together. Maybe this was about moving Ida's body from her home to her car. In the primary crime scene, the scene of Ida's murder, it had to have been the bedroom. There's no doubting it. Well, I have to say, if I'm making calls on where to go with this, I think the focus seems relatively simple. Oh, simple, you say?
It has to be.
trust from Ida, the redressing, the stolen clothes, the secretive nature of it all. It's all pointing in one direction. The offender must have been a live-in partner. This is a compelling angle. A romantic partner is by far most likely to commit a murder with a personal angle such as this.
Are you sure about that?
The clothes on their own aren't that convincing, really, and you've seen how things can quickly change. Take these drawers, for example. The clothes drawers and implications of what's inside them. There were clothes for an adult female, unsurprisingly, but there were also clothes for a young juvenile. Oh, Ida was a mother. But then where was the child in all this? They weren't also... Ida's home was found empty at this point. The boy's welfare was a complete unknown. Further investigation confirmed that Ida had a son of 8, James. His records were sparse, though, and neither father nor family listed. Right, this wasn't just a homicide, then. A missing child. That changes things. It does, yes. It's got to do with why the FBI became involved, for one, before the linkages to serial murder even came to light. My point is, there's still a lot to wrap our heads around here, so think carefully about this, about the case priorities. What's next, Desmond? With everything you've learned, where do you allocate your limited resources as an investigator? Okay, I'm not going to jump the gun here, but as far as I can tell, there's only 3 main directions. Look into this boyfriend, look more into Ida, or see where I can find the boy, James. So, which is it? The boyfriend, the victim, the boy. I mean, we could still look into her, right? I don't think looking into the boy... I mean, if we didn't find any traces or contacts of the boy before, then I don't think so. But maybe either the victim or the boyfriend. She also had that radio thing with the fields on her dresser. I think we need to look more into her. We didn't really learn anything about her.
Here's what I'm thinking.
Considering the offender was known to her, I think the only way we're going to grow our leads is to look more into Ida herself. Talk to the people that knew her, look into her daily life and routines. That's how we'll learn more about who could have done this.
Exactly.
Thank you. As we said this entire time, it's that connection to Ida that is paramount, where we learn more about the boy, too.
Right.
So who did she typically interact with? Who had the opportunity to be invited like that? And where might James be? In other words, the victimology, your notebook, if you would. Victimology. Occupation. Relationships. Type of household. Neighborhood dynamics. As before, I've narrowed this list of categories down to what's relevant to the information you'll be able to find.
So then, Desmond, tell me.
Where do you find this information? The government? A little of this I can work out in what we have, but mostly it's quite personal. Her occupation, relationships. I'd want to talk to her friends or family, check her records for the next of kin, perhaps. Then there's neighbors, what they know about her, what they might have seen.
Not bad.
Good. Let's go do just that. We're going about town, or are we looking at more evidence? Here we have the statements from the investigation. We'll focus now on the 2 key interviews taken in the initial canvassing. The next of kin was Lillian Rothermund, Ida's mother, living in a small town just a few miles out. As it turned out, she was the only family Ida was in contact with. It seemed our victim was a regular insular, actually. The second was indeed a neighbor. You might recall Ida lived by a fuel junction, so it was just the one. A Dale Fields. Retired, mid-60s, lived in a trailer barely 100 feet from Ida's. Some of this is reading between the lines. Some, like you said, is from older evidence. I'm sure you can work it out. Before we listen to these statements, I'm going to actually take a quick break and then assess if I want to continue on with this game or if I want to stop it here and leave it for a different day. So, yeah. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back after a short break. We're ready to listen to these statements. Yeah. Let's go. What do we do? How do we listen to these statements? Okay. Lillian Rotherman, so this is Ida's mother. Last saw Ida's partners. She come round that morning, so I mind the boy. We ain't seen another one in whiles, but he's making amends, or trying to. I'd asked her if it's for her blasphemous work, you see, that she come by, and she knows I ain't supporting it. She don't say nothing. So I says, no, I ain't participation in no more. Then that I ain't never seen her again, Lord forgive me. So she's probably a sex worker. That's probably why her mom doesn't respect. We gotta make a living here. There's always someone cut from the same sorry cloth. She ain't told me nothing, but I seen him around. I know that boy's daddy got run from the mines for being a good for nothing. That's about all I know, about all I need to know. Okay. And then we have Dale Fields, who works at the fuel station. I think they said that is up the street from her trailer. Fields is also the last name on the walkie-talkie that she has on her dresser. I'd seen a black car that day out front of her place, Foxy Ford type, bit unusual. Mostly they just walk over from gas and go, and them truckin' men. Strange plates too, like a company car might be. I ain't but seen that, then gone about my day. Didn't look at again afterward. Didn't think to look again after. Well, I started out hauling timber from Briar Way, which was easier than being here. Then I hung that up. Then I did come. It was just us, so we lended stuff, you know, odd jobs, looking out for one another like that. Okay. Now what? Now what? What are we doing? What now? What next? Well, I mean... Oh, I see. Alright, so... Occupation... and Dale Fields both said odd jobs here and there. Ida's mother seemed to particularly upset when speaking about Ida's work. For it to offend someone who is religious like Lillian, well, it does help give a little more context as to what that work would be.
Are you sure about that?
Oh, I'm not quite sure what you have in mind here. I suggest it's not the clearest evidence we have. Oh.
Back to it, Desmond.
Then the previous one. Yeah, truckers walk to Ida's from Gas and Go. Yeah, we know that part. A disapproving religious mother, truckers visiting her home from a nearby truck stop.
Yeah.
It seems to me it's likely one of the two occupations, drug dealing or sex work.
If that's the case...
The pool of potential suspects just got much wider. Almost everything, in fact, may need reevaluating. Why that? The offender might not have forced his way inside, but he might not have been that well to her either. Whichever line of work it is, there's no denying what they both mean. These are occupations exposed to danger. Oh, I wonder if they would, like, walkie-talkie each other when, like, she had, like, a client. Well, allusions to Ida's work is here in the evidence. You just need these statements for context here. Albeit far from definitive, we do have indications right here of what Ida's work at least likely was. Consider what you've learned, add everything up, which makes the logical sense. The condoms, Rose. I guess if I had to, I'd lean to Ida being a sex worker. As you said, not exactly definitive proof, but the bin with the used condoms comes to mind. Then the numerous tissues, numerous cigarettes, jar for payments, they do speak a commodity, I suppose. And the lighter with the rental car company on it.
Not bad.
Most of those commodities do still function with dealing, but not at all. Educated guesswork, but even so. At times, you'll need to get your nose on the right trail, so to speak, and onto better evidence. Work on finishing the rest of the victimology, and we'll circle back to seeing just where it did lead. Okay. Relationships between Ida and anyone making amends. And only he and Ida lived there, all timber.
Are you sure about that?
Oh.
You can do better.
Perhaps you had your reasons for this also, but again, not the best evidence. Oh.
Back to it, Desmond.
It Am I not listening? Did I just do the wrong statements? Between Ida and anyone outside her immediate family. Evidence. Evidence of a relationship. So maybe the loose clothes and the photograph, the frame. Original floor, drawers, bin, bed, bedside table. The photo frame, maybe? We've spoken on this already. More can be done to suggest Ida was living with someone other than her son. What could build on this and make a stronger case for Ida having a live-in partner? Oh, okay. So far, we've seen an offender who's been cautious and careful. A photo frame left open and empty like that, to me, that's just more covering up. Why take a photo other than to hide a relationship?
Back to it, Desmond.
And then the drawers? As it says, clothing for a woman and child and others. So what's the right side cleared of? We've spoken this already. Stronger case for Ida having a live-in partner. Oh, the toothbrushes. They have 3 toothbrushes in the sink. A subtle detail, but there's toothbrushes here. There's Ida, her son, that's 2. So then why the 3rd? Someone who was here overnight, often enough to have their own. Yeah. Get it. These were particularly subtle details. I'm impressed. Me too. But to add to the stolen clothes, we now have a missing framed photo and an extra toothbrush. Surely it has to be. It is compelling, I agree. It was highly likely that Ida had a live-in partner. All we have to do now is find out who. Type of household. What do we know about how Ida kept her home? Oh, garbage on the floor. The garbage doesn't seem connected with her murder, but I would think this was normal for her to let it pile up on the floor like this. So if this is typical of how she lived, at least suggests a daily struggle perhaps with poverty or mental health, which may not appear directly relevant to a murder investigation, but you'd be surprised. Context can be everything to solving an investigation. By the end of this, the relevance will be more apparent. What do we know about the people or activities in Ida's neighborhood? Well, we'll go back to the tapes here and say... Dale said that he used to haul timber from Briar Hollow, and he and only Ida lived there and helped each other. With no one else living in the area, we really just have to take Dale at his word here, don't we? Yeah. He certainly paints a picture of an amicable friendship. The problem is there's no one to dispute it. That may not be exactly true. There's still one person who could certainly speak for that, assuming they are still alive, that is. Well, they're not here. Okay, well, since that rounds out the last of the victimology questions, where does that leave us? Ida's line of work is certainly intriguing. Finding out about who might have visitors seems a high priority. Plus the fact that Ida was rather isolated with the neighbor, Dale. He has to at least be a person of interest in this. But the thing is, none of that might not even matter. The indications of a live-in partner, the tampering of evidence related to that.
Desmond.
As long as you have unanswered questions about the case, all of your leads and angles most certainly matter. And it sounds to me like you have quite the number of questions to start working, don't you?
Right.
Of course. Let's see here then. Proof of Dale's sighting, more on Dale Fields, how to find Ida's partner. 2 out of 3 on Dale. Why is that? You seem to be concentrating quite a bit on the neighbor here. Well, first of all, I'm sure I've spotted indications of him in Ida's home. Innocent, perhaps, but when you consider Dale's account of the rental car, if it checks out, that's a good lead. If it isn't, Dale is misdirecting. Yes, true, but if we're wanting more on the men Ida's seeing, then there's something you're overseeing.
So then, Desmond, tell me.
What else are we likely to learn about Ida's work and her clients? More information on Ida's work. Maybe a nearby truck stop? I thought Dale worked at the truck stop, but I guess that's different. I'd started the gas and go regardless of what the work is exactly. That's where the clients are coming from.
Not bad.
Intimate knowledge of the work, insider knowledge is exactly what we need more of, and we have the source of it. By canvassing the gas and go fuel station near Ida, investigators managed to find Cheryl, a work acquaintance of Ida's. She said Ida did in fact engage in sex work outside of the gas and go, only recently changing to meeting clients at her own home instead. For one, she lacked help with her son, but according to Cheryl, Ida has been scared off by the murder of a colleague. Bonnie? 2 victims working out of the same highway station, then yet another linkage.
If that's the case.
This says a lot about this victim selection. This is specificity. No familiarity with the station, even.
Perhaps.
Cheryl couldn't name any one suspect herself and was relatively friendly with Ida, but her instincts were still invaluable. Details more personal than Ida, they came with some luck from another source altogether, a notepad.
Oh?
Oh, a notepad? Hold on. Yeah. You must mean this right, the blank notepad from Ida's bedroom. Blank to the naked eye, perhaps, however. Etch. Do the shh. Once FBI were involved, we were to get this. An impression of what was last written. The indentations made into the paper. James Ma, GC11, DF15.
Okay.
Intriguing. That is what, a list? A schedule?
What do you think?
It's about time you get to figuring that out, I'd say. Between this and the statements from Cheryl, you have to think about enough. In fact, start pulling a potential suspect, some critical steps here, so don't lose focus now. Oh. Well, what are we looking at? Oh, Cheryl's statements. Ida's savings. Yeah, well, she said she'd come by, picking up whatever from the gas and go. Say hi, you know, small talk, really. But even when she gone done it from her home, it was always like she was always working, always getting out of here. Jesus. Kept it all in this little jar under the bed along with her drugs. Weren't no safe space for neither, none with those types. Huh. Partners, like boyfriend? I don't know nothing about that, but I think she kept company. I don't know really. What I can tell you is that she had irregulars. Them's what's come by hers when she stopped coming here. But yeah, we still talk tricks. The handles that them truckers used, all code like sort of thing. You share them around. What they like, so they's paid more, tying, who's being tied, who's the good ones, you know, who's the bad. Proof that Dale really saw someone visiting Ida? Well, what I saw. Black car with strange plates. Proof. Black car with strange plates. Maybe the lighter in her room? I did wonder about this. The lighter on Ida's bedside table. Ida had her own car, so why would she even have this in the first place? Could be nothing, of course, but in light of what Dale had seen, could it be it was a person with a rental visiting Ida? Sometimes it's the little things, sometimes it's luck. In this case, it was a bit of both. Rental company turned out to be a fairly small chain and only one store operating anywhere near Ida.
In fact,
the description of the car Dale saw was indeed the match of just one car they had out on loan that day. Okay. And what kind of car was that? Dennis Clay. Here's Dennis Clay, a long-haul trucker out of a small town known as Wilson's Bend, just a few miles north of Ida's Hickory Ridge. During the time of Ida's murder, Clay had finished a run and was heading home, a route running directly through where Ida lived.
Okay.
Intriguing. This is rather unusual, though, isn't it? He's almost home, only a few miles out, you say. Then why the rental car?
exactly.
Suspicious, isn't it? You'll have your opportunity to challenge this alibi. You can be sure of that. In the meantime, though, there's still information here on 2 potential suspects. It's a good lead you have, but now's not the time to put blinders on. More on Dale Fields. Evidence of Dale's involvement with Ida. Oh, okay. Yes. So this is the items on the counter, and then just him saying, I'm still not quite sure why Ida had this radio, but more to the point is the engraving on the side. It says Fields, as in Dalefield, surely, which granted might not mean much more than lending something to a neighbor. If it were only thing implicating Dale in all of this, yes.
Are you sure
I'm
about
still
that?
not quite sure what you have in mind. Oh. Evidence of Dale's involvement with Ida.
Back to it, Desmond.
Dale's involvement with Ida.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Dale's involvement. I mean, I thought this would be right. His involvement. Wait, wasn't there the clothes in the back of her car? Partial Wilbur label? That has to mean something, right? Where,
Are you
because
sure about that?
Because he said he used
Back
to haul
it, Desmond.
lumber. Evidence of Dale's involvement. I don't know. I'm gonna. What information will help out who Ida's live-in partner was? I think we'll have to go with. She had regulars. The note. I'm not sure.
Are you sure about that?
No?
You can do better than that. Back to it, Desmond.
Am I stumped? Find out what information will help Ida's live-in, find out who Ida's live-in partner was. Wait, she had drugs under her bed too? I don't know, I'm kind of stumped.
Are you sure about that?
No. This point Lillian brings up about James' father being fired from his work in the mines. It's not that great, but as far as ways to identify anything Ida might have dated, this might be the best lead we have. It doesn't seem like much to go by, no, considering how it relates to evidence more directly involved with the crime. Okay.
Back to it, Desmond.
At least we got one. Evidence of Dale's involvement with Ida. Maybe the food?
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond. Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Evidence of Dale's involvement with Ida.
Are you sure about that?
No, I'm not.
Back to it, Desmond. Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
How to find Ida's partner.
Are you sure about that?
No, I'm not.
Back to it, Desmond. Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond. Are you sure about that?
No.
Back to it, Desmond.
I'll find out.
Are you sure about that?
No, I'm not. But I don't know what else to look into.
Back to it, Desmond.
Evidence of Dale's involvement with Ida. The only evidence that I know of is the CB radio. Wait, are we missing something? Why does that say 9 of 10? Having this lifted by FA, okay. Dale Fields, 15. Yeah. Okay. Is that what we needed for all this? Indentations. Whether this was a schedule or list, the point of these is to represent something immediately relevant to Ida on that day. And even without knowing what it means, it's hard to ignore the fact that DF matches with the initials of one and only neighbor. I do agree. Dale needs looking into. These begin to paint a picture of a relationship that may be beyond what he's suggesting, except there is still one problem with this. A lot of Dale's perceived guilt hinges on not just your interpretation of notepad indentations, but relevance also. I don't know what that means. Relevance? You mean you made a point of it? I just guess I assumed.
Desmond.
I only offered you evidence. It's on you to prove how it fits this case specifically here. Are the notepad indentations relevant? You still have groundwork to do. What do you have that corroborates the list that has that day's schedule? Dale might be suspicious, but what you have currently is arbitrary. Lock this in, though, and things could change quite quickly. Okay. How to find Ida's partner? The indentations. An interesting thought, Desmond. You actually might be onto something with this. Without more context, though, as to what this might mean, I don't see how it can help us, at least not right now. Okay. We'll
Back to it, Desmond.
Maybe we're not all supposed to. Proof that notepad invitations are relevant the day of Ida's murder. Because her mom said when she last saw her According to Ida's mother, Lillian, they had met the morning Ida was murdered, specifically so Lillian could mine Ida's son. That matches the first dot of the point in the invitation, James Sima, as to why the list was for that same day. Well, Lillian also suggests the two hadn't been getting along or even seeing much of each other, so if that's the case, then it had been a common occurrence. Ida taking her son to stay with her mother, exactly right. Yeah. That makes for such a stronger case against the neighbor now and vital information for follow-up questioning, so... Oh, why is his arm broken? We can now officially rule in Dale Fields as a potential suspect in Ida's murder. And really, all things considered, perhaps the most suspicious. He's got scratches on his arm! If this was a schedule of that day, what with Ida giving her mother a rare visit, then there's obvious implication here. That would make DF, Dale, the last person to have seen Ida the day she was murdered. Indeed, assuming we can verify these indentations as such. That's yet another alibi you'll need to dig into yourself in time. There's still one more potential suspect left to consider before you move on. Keep going. How to find Ida's partner. Do we have all the evidence we need? 10 out of 10, 6 out of 6. Okay. Could we look in the handbag of Bonnie?
Are you sure about that?
No? Okay. Just an outside thought.
Back to it, Desmond.
Why not these loose clothes? I think I've checked these, but she says nah. All right, if we're to assume these clothes were those of Ida's partner, then this could be helpful. One of the shirts bears a partial logo for Wilbur. If that's where he works or once worked, it could at least narrow things down. I thought I indicated that. It doesn't seem like much to go by now. Okay. We did it.
Nicely deduced.
It was a long shot, but it worked. In Colda Creek, an hour east of Ida, was a Wilbur coal. Small operation in declining mining town, the company had seen numerous layoffs over recent years, just as Lillian suggested. There were dozens of names to sift through, a needle in the haystack, however, one did happen to stand out. Does it match the other thing? Gary Warren. Why is his nose broken? As luck would have it, one had registered James, Ida's son, as defendant family, Gary Warren, resident of Calder Creek.
Oh?
Really, but
Really?
why? I mean, if he himself isn't in James' records. As strange as they have been, this may have at least allowed the boy health coverage. Gary admitted to much himself. Right, okay, well that's all well and good, but doesn't this all suggest that he was James' biological father? Don't forget the clothes in the car. The clothes that can be directly tied to Gary were taken out of Ida's home.
Right.
Of course, a move which seemed to be means of protecting his identity from the investigation. Yes, seemed to be, because the other hand, you're really quite in second-guessing their relationship as current. His statements, as you'll see, do make things a little more complicated. Let me hear the statement, and actually, now that all the victimology leads to are exhausted, it's time we turn our focus. Right, 3 men who had the opportunity, who fit the narrative, or at least what we have of it so far. Opportunity is one thing, but who had the motive to kill? Or who had been the desire to, even? The desire, that's a little complicated, Desmond. Take it one step at a time and maybe you'll get there. Standard procedure is to get a little background on them first, so let's just start there. Ah.
Okay.
Intriguing. Even at a glance, there's the history between them all. Lies, cheating, drugs, violence. Let me read it. Yes, well, as intriguing as all of this is, there's just one more thing I actually wanted to show you first. Something that sets the foundation for this crucial phase. A second list that once again changes what you think you know. Another one? But from where? Was that also the notepad in Ida's room?
You can do better than that.
We touched on this earlier. Surely you haven't already forgotten. Think about it carefully. Where was something similar hidden from us? Where else could a list have come from? The notebook in the car!
Of course.
It had to have been in the back of Ida's
Had to have
car.
been.
You must mean the notebook here. You said it had a page torn out of it. Good. I'm glad you can see you can keep tabs on loose ends, especially when there is a point as this one.
If that's the case,
Seeing it was likely removed from Ida's home by her murderer, we need to figure out why, what they were trying to hide. You can take a look, but since it's coded, it won't do you all much good, not without this. What is the list from Ida's
it's there in
notebook?
the evidence.
Think on it. Where did you learn about coded names? Answer this and you'll have everything you need to finally start on your suspects. Coded names? I mean, the coded names, the indentations. What is the list? Evidence help identify the indentations?
Are you sure about that?
Oh no, the
Back to it, Desmond.
the evidence, Cheryl. They're trucker names, right? What was it Cheryl said that her and Ida would swap names of clients? Coded names, trucker handles. So that's what this is. A list of Ida's clients. Otherwise known as a black book. Yes, well deduced. Cheryl believed Ida only adopted this concept since working out of home, too. Also worth noting.
Okay. Good to know.
Means less people might have been there, at least works to our advantage. Knowing that this list is, though, that's one thing, but... Deep forest, deep roads. The coding is still quite obscure. Do we have tips on what any of this mean? Did Cheryl know who they were? She was able to help us identify 2 of them, and yes, the other 3 too, indirectly. You see, she gave some pointers on what their handles were likely referencing to, and those proved invaluable. Drives back road, relaxed, free-spirited, hauls wood, blonde hair, blue eyes, Gator Country Halls. Now, 2 of the Cheryl knew. One was already in jail, one was places 2 states away at the time, both ruled out. To identify the remaining 3 clients, while you already have enough evidence to do that yourself.
Oh?
We already know them, then wait. You mean it's our 3 suspects on this list? All 3 of them were clients of Ida, the partner, even the neighbor? Intriguing, isn't it? Now you know why having this list was so important, so... Okay. Sus. I've already deduced Dale's. These truckers, as Cheryl also pointed out, hold aspects of their work as their identity. Remember that. If you can find out what she meant by that, you'll have to ammunition you take them to the interview room. Okay. Well, since Dale is technically a suspect, let's move to what we have on it to keep him in place. What? Oh, okay. Can we look at his background? Okay. His appearance. He might be older than the other suspects, but he looks to have aged well. Looks physically fit, at least. Despite being retired, he still looks like part of a trucker. Denim shirt, denim pants, and an oversized belt buckle featuring exhaust stalks behind an eagle. He might... Oh, we already said that. Injuries. This has been on my mind, actually. The cast on Dale's arm. This is a long arm cast up and around the elbow. I can't imagine what he could do much with it. Did he happen to get in before or after Ida's murder? Before, about 2 weeks earlier. Don't let that dissuade you on his capability, though. Forensics suggested both Ida and Bonnie were strangled by a left-handed offender. You'll note which arm is in the cast, and in fact, all 3 men were confirmed to be primarily left-handed. Right, okay, interested. So then, what about the scratches on his left arm? Did he have anything to say on that? Just that they attempted some manual work on his property with one good arm, or so he says. Injuries, appearance... Ah. Background information! Retired long-haul trucker, various companies, currently living in Hickory Ridge. 65, single, never married, no children, claims to live a quiet, peaceful life. 1939, attempted strangulation of unnamed 21-year-old transient female at a rural fuel stop. No charges made. Interesting. Okay. Dennis, let's look at you. Fairly standard trucker attire, oversized belt buckle with the letter D, padded vest, and a Florida-themed trucker hat. A necklace with a cross pendant, so he's from religion. Cigarettes, Windsor Bowls, I believe, going by the logo. The slumped shoulders and sweaty armpits are hard to miss. To not particularly confident-looking figure, at least not under police scrutiny. Why does he have ropes? Oh, because he likes ropes. Because one of the guys on the list that we'll go back to, he likes to drive the back roads, and he also likes ropes. Oh, we're not gonna make a note of his injuries there? These marks on his wrist, very peculiar. Is it just me, or do these look incredibly similar to some injuries we've already seen in this case? Background information. Long trawl hooker. Currently living on Wilson's Bend, a few miles north of Hickory Ridge. 38, married, 6 years to Judith Clay. 33, no children. 1975, wife filed for divorce citing adultery and habitual drug use, withdrawn within 2 weeks. Soon after, took on regular trucking routes. Interesting that he's not the only suspect here without a criminal history. Don't necessarily mean he was clean either. This filing for divorce 3 years ago over adultery and habitual drug use, what made her change her mind, and why take longer runs right after? Gary Warren. Between the bruising and the bandage, seems like Gary took a pretty good knock to his nose here. Flannel jeans, pretty standard rural trucker flair, bit more stripped back and simple somehow though. Clean shaven. Doesn't seem at all impressed either, going by the body language. Background information. Long haul trucker currently living in Colditch Creek, long hour drive east of Hickory Ridge. Former 41, divorced 1962. Wife citing dissertation, now lives with second wife May Warren, married 1967. His sister, son Bill, 9 years old. Numerous charges using non-designated trucking routes and falsifying his logbooks. Considered usual behavior for truckers, avoiding mandatory rest periods and making their own hours. Let's see. Okay. Dale Fields Handle. He used to haul timber, so he's a wood guy. And then we have... Can I see what the name handles were? There we go. Deep Forest D Ropes. See, I think that's Clay. I think that's Clay. Hullswood S. Talk 5. I think he's Woodchuck. I don't know why he would want. Someone likes rope. There's two people who like ropes. Gator Country Halls. Lives north of Ida. Wife withdrew filing for divorce. Injuries, both wrists. Back roads. Deep Forest D. Dennis Clay. Florida. Oh, so maybe he's S? Gator Country. Gator Chaser. He likes ropes. Dale. Background. History of assault. The belt buckle? No. Physically fit denim shirt and pants. Belt buckle, exhaust stacks, and equal. Used to haul timber. The eagle. Oh, you're supposed to put his black book handle here? Wait. Evidence. Okay. Living here. Haul wood. And how do we... Okay. I think... Oh, no. Halswood. Woodchuck S. Oh, okay. We gotta look at all these. Okay, first entry, deep forest, D, ropes. Driving back roads, couldn't that be any of them? To make it their handle, though, it must be particular preference or proclivity. The second entry, easy rider, D, straight 10. Relax, I suppose at least 2 of our suspects seem to be a free-spirited. The third entry, Woodstock, S, talk 5. This one sounds familiar. We have evidence of someone transferring wood as a trucker, don't we? Yeah, we do. Yeah. Fourth entry, cool hand, Deem ropes, chalk 10, blue and blonde hair, blue high. Straightforward, should be simple enough. And gator chaser. How's to gator country? So what, Louisiana, somewhere south? That doesn't sound familiar. When I think gators, I think Florida. Okay. Here we go. All right, Dale, you are woodchuck. There's not a lot to go on with Dale as a trucker, but he has in touch with it on it enough in the statement he gave.
Exactly.
Seems to connect rather clearly with one of the listed handles, wouldn't you say? Which would make him woodchuck, right? He did say he used to be a wood hauler. Retired now, but that's correct. Turns out this is indeed the moniker that stuck with him. Good start, Desmond. That leaves just 2 to identify now. Dennis likes ropes. Oh, and it also says, North. Florida cap. All right, so in Dennis's case is what he was wearing that gives it away. Tells us about his route, his identity as a trucker. Once you figure out the associations involved, the handle comes fairly easily.
Yeah.
Florida, Gators, roots to Florida, Gator Chaser. Now I get it. That's 2 identified, only 1 more left. Gary. What can we look about you? Bruising and bandage on nose. Impatient posture, clean shaven, flannel jeans. Charges for using unofficial trucking routes and falsifying. That seems like something. But I need to look at the names again. Deep Forest, D, Ropes, Easy Rider, Woodchuck, Cool Hand, Gator Chaser. D, Ropes, Chalk 10, Deep Forest. Deep Forest because he uses back roads. So in avoiding way stations, essentially Gary was avoiding highways. So if he's avoiding highways, well spotted. It's the implication of which lines up convincingly to one of the handles from Ida's Black Book.
Right.
Because of the main roads you're going to be using, then your only alternative is to use back roads. In other words, Deep Forest nicely deduced, Desmond. And with that, you've got all 3 suspects and their handles from Ida's list, so... there we have it. Woodchuck, Gator Chaser, and Deep Forest. Respectively, all 3 have a lot to answer for. And I have a lot to want to ask them. In some ways, I almost wouldn't have known where to begin. You wouldn't, actually. Everything you have just would have been a card you'd shown. Let them show the cards. Rather than give them the chance to shape their lies around the evidence. The evidence should instead expose the lie.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, we know the evidence about as well as we can now. Now it's just a matter of looking for what doesn't fit in their stories.
Exactly.
Not always because they're guilty either, at least not of murder. You've done the groundwork, now's the time to finally hear what they had to say. Just remember, one statement at a time, Desmond. It's time to strip away their lies and tell the truth. Okay? The evidence should expose the lie. That seems easier said than done. Take one lie at a time, sure, but can I really tell something like that? Who is just scared and who is a murderer? Statements. Okay. Oh. Dale said, well, yeah, I gave that their radio to Ida. Only reaches the gas and goes. Said it's all she needs. So then trucker Min can call her. See, I don't call no one no more, so weren't no trouble. And agreement with Ida. Sure, I paid her for that. She needed the work. It's lonely. I worked out time to time. I ain't seen her to that day. If that's what you mean, I ain't got no reason to do what I done to her either. This doesn't quite ring true to me, at least based on evidence I've already seen. Maybe his initials on the list isn't quite enough to prove he was there, but this is what I think we can dispute. Okay. Dennis Clay. I was lost. I mean, the rental, it's just to do some things out of town is all. I can be driving no truck around. And I dropped by the trailer. Sure, I was lost. I stopped for directions. She asked for the light, you see, so I gave the lighter to her. That's it, I swear. He's feeling the pressure, but even so, the explanation for the lighter is at least plausible. Unlikely, but plausible. His handle's in Ida's book, but I feel like Lenore would say that's not enough on its own. Proof Dennis was Ida's client. The ropes.
Okay.
We placed him here. He's admitted to as much, so did he really not go inside? The boy. The boy he's missing? Oh, Lord Christ almighty. Right, well, yeah, I seen him outside. He was on his radio. Small, like radio with some off-road handle, I think. He says he's westbound and inbound, so must be. I know, because I thought I ain't none coming to Hickory that ways. Not in that old road. That's all I can recall. The boy was there still last I seen. She just left him there, too, by himself, like. Gary Warren. Gary said work papers. Jesus, well, sure, I'd seen her for a spell years back. We'd had that boy, so for a bit I'd covered him. And for what? I ain't going to do that no more. He ain't mine no proper like. I ain't speak with him or nothing. Got my own family now. It was a mistake, and that was the truth of it. And I ain't got no clue where he is. Those points he's making about the relationship being old now, they're actually quite hard to dispute. The points about James and Hickory, though, I wonder. Is Gary in contact with James? Maybe he had a radio. I'm convinced this isn't the case. Not having communication with James one lie at a time, after all. Clothes? Them's old. I can't believe she has them. She might as well make him to huck them or bring them out to me. She was touched in the head like that, all clingy, crazy, like I don't know. Could I be too set up for it? Folks will do that, you know. Is there, you know, persons of interest? I mean, y'all looking at clothes she got around that woman. Okay. Dale's motive. Proof that Dale had the potential to hurt Ida. The cast. Left-handed injuries.
Are you sure about that?
Oh. Proof that Dale had the potential to hurt.
Back to it, Desmond.
He's fit.
Are you sure
Okay.
about that? Back to it, Desmond.
I miss being Ida's client. Didn't see Ida that day. I used it for work. Never married. Retired. History of assault. Thinking on what happened with his criminal history, it almost seems like Dale said was a flat-out lie. Right, the connection goes even further, which might have been lost on you given rather the outdated terminology. The transient female he previously attacked was used to be considered a sensitive way by preferring police to refer to sex workers. Oh. So both cases involving strangulation, both in a rural back road area, and now both against sex workers. You can have a listen now to Dale being pressed on this, sticking to his guns though, as you'll see. I guess we'll give a listen to that first. Can we put this away and listen to Dale? Right, sure, I get it, but I mean, that was complicated. Was young, stupid as all heck. Had that rage, what some young folk get. You know, Ida's my friend. I could never do that to Ida. I don't think it's possible, neither, all things considered. Left-handed, okay, but there's more to it. Lenore's right. He's not changing his story much. He's actually doubling down on the idea of him not being able to do it. If not possible, he said, all things considered. What does he mean by that? He addresses the murder being left-handed, so what else? If he's right, there's something about this that I'm overlooking. If he's not, then I have to prove he could commit the crime in its entirety. What does he mean, all things considered? His right hand is injured, not his left. Proof that Dale did or did not have the capability to commit all aspects of murder. And he's fit. I don't buy it. I mean, if he can strangle her, then what else is there to consider? This is a fairly disappointing conclusion to make, Desmond. You're not giving this enough thought. Think through all the steps involved. Capability just isn't about physical exertion, after all. Whether we want to prove capability or lack of capability, it seems inevitable. We have to discuss Dale's cast. It's the logical center to this. Could he physically have done it? There isn't much else for him to hide behind.
Back to it, Desmond.
Well, not quite. Okay. Did he get into a tussle with Gary? Is that something? He's already spoken on this evidence.
Back to it, Desmond.
Young, stupid, not capable. Dale did or did not. Proof. Did or did not have the capability. I don't know, I'm a little bit confused.
Are you sure about that?
I'm not sure because I don't really understand what is being asked.
Back to it, Desmond.
I'm gonna go back to another. Proof that Dennis did visit Ida as a client because he's got abrasions. He liked the ropes. What? Not quite sure. I suggest this isn't the clearest evidence we have, Dan.
Back to it, Desmond.
Did visit Ida as her client. Cigarettes.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know.
Back to it, Desmond.
Proof that Dennis did visit her. He knew about James.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond. Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
The adultery?
Are you sure about that?
I don't know.
Back to it, Desmond.
Proof. I really wish body could connect everything. Oh, proof that Dennis did. He was talking about this. Desmond, he's already, oh.
Back to it, Desmond.
The proof. The proof in the pudding. Well, his name. Matching his handle to Ida's black book is a good start, especially considering the client list is more recent. On its own, though, this could be fairly easily talked around. You should look for something more substantial.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Proof that Dennis visited her. Was Gary in contact with James? He used to insure him. And then he knew they talked on the radio.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know anymore. Well, to be fair, Dennis's memory here seems a little shaky on the handle. It's scraping at the edge of the name, isn't it? But the similarities to Gary's deep forest handle, the backroads insinuation of it could be a good fit, though. Could be, since Dennis's recollection lacks confidence, though. You'll need more than just this to connect him with Gary.
Back to it, Desmond.
It's just Gary was in contact with James. What about the statement the mom made?
Are you sure about that?
No, I'm not.
Back to it, Desmond.
The clothes in the car? Oh, and then...
Are you sure about that?
I don't know anymore.
Back to it, Desmond.
Evidence. GC. Gary.
Are you sure about
I don't
that?
know.
Back to it, Desmond.
Okay. Evidence suggesting Gary was in contact with James. Three toothbrushes?
Are you sure about
I don't
that?
know. Okay.
Back to it, Desmond.
Well, he talked about him, didn't he? Like, he straight up talked to him. Is James' father used to insure him, doesn't talk to James or know where he is.
Are you sure about that?
He mentioned him.
Back to it, Desmond.
There's nothing new that I'm missing, right? Yeah. Gary was in contact with James. Work amidst never hurt. Lives east. Divorced, remarried with family. Because he lives east. If this trucker was coming westbound into Hickory Ridge, he's obviously starting out east, a rarely used road to boot. With Gary's hometown east of Ida, small communities, limited road access between them. It is a bit of a stretch, but yes, it does warrant attention. I'll give you that. Of James talking with someone to come in the direction. Oh, it was with him. It's a good case.
In fact,
Close to Gary, and he walked right into it. His tendency to become defensive was quite the bonus for investigators. He reply does essentially confirm this suspicion, but as you see, he did also seem to have an answer for everything. Well, let's see. What did Gary had to say? Oh, and that because that boy finds me over CB. I done murder the woman. Geez, he's the one calling me, okay? I didn't even want to answer. Don't mean I've been there, neither. Hell, I ain't even run through Hickory no more. I just ain't got no reason for it being out there. That lot lizard caused me enough trouble. Okay. Right. Admits to talking to James but not keeping in contact or being in the area. Proof that Gary was in Hickory Ridge. In an effort to get out of this, did he just walk himself further into the lie? Alright. Was Dale capable of Ida's murder? Long arm predates Ida's murder, but since the suspects are all left-handed and since murders were confirmed to be from someone left-handed, well... Then there's scratches on his left arm from manual labor with one arm, he says, which sounds more than a little suspicious. The length of the cast running around his elbow would certainly make anything physical tricky, but I don't know. Proof that Dale did or not have the capability to commit an agreement?
Are you sure
No.
about that?
I'm not. I don't even know. Am I looking for a reason he is capable?
Back to
Because I said he's fit. I'm still not sure. Gary, what proves Gary would have to have been near Ida in Hickory Ridge? Because he uses back roads.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Doesn't drive. Flannel jeans, clean shaven. Impatient posture. Have been near. What proves Gary would have been near? I don't think we have that evidence yet. In bed. Same photo frame indentations. Did I already say the indentations?
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Proof that Dennis did visit Ida has her client.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Matching his handle to Ida's. Okay. On his arm, though.
Back to
Oh,
it,
it's kind of
Desmond.
his injuries, right? His injuries. His wrists.
Are you sure about that?
I'm very sure.
Back to it, Desmond.
Oh, well, if Dennis didn't simply give Ida the lighter, then what's the alternative? He must have used it himself. To light a cigarette? Not bad, Desmond. The logic is certainly good. None of them had usable trace evidence or prints, though, as you might recall. The butts weren't even his brand. Oh. Damn it!
Back to it, Desmond.
I thought they were. Proof that Dennis didn't what's his name say? I already thought I thought I said this. Desmond, he's already spoken on this evidence.
Back to it, Desmond. Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Did I already say his
Are
background?
you sure about that?
I feel like we've
Back
checked
to it,
everything on this page that Dennis said. There's something we're missing right now, because I'm feeling a bit lost. Proof Gary was in Hickory Ridge. Wouldn't it, the radio only reaches the gas and go? What Dale mentioned here about the radio was fairly insidious point, but the fact that it's such a short range is really in our favor. To admit James reaching him on a radio that can only reach a nearby gas station, Gary was tying up in his own lies. Are these the response of someone feeling himself pulled into a murder investigation he had nothing to do with, though? Or are these the lies of a man separating himself from something he had everything to do with? I still can't tell. Be that as it may, I still do have quite a work to do on the other two suspects. No stones unturned now. Was Dale capable of Ida's murder? And then it asks proof that Dale did or did not have the capability to commit all aspects of murder.
Desmond.
Oh, this is so frustrating. I don't know where else to look. Was Dale capable of Ida's murder?
Are you sure about that?
No. I'm just throwing stones at a wall here.
Back to it, Desmond.
They're bouncing right back at me and hitting me in the head.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
I don't know what, like, the more that I read this question, the more, like, confused that I am and the more blocked I feel. Proof that Dennis did visit Ida as her client.
Back to it, Desmond.
Dennis Clay weren't his initials on the indentations. They weren't. Or were Gary Clay? Dennis Clay. Carpet. Bed. I would think the answer to this were his friggin' abrasions on his wrist. But it's not going through. Oh, I'm so confident beginning this. Windsor Bold cigarette butts. And what brand was he having? But they didn't say what kind of cigarettes. What kind of cigarettes does he have? Windsor Bolts. So he's connected to Bonnie. Possibly. That has nothing to do with Ida, but I just want to say, on the ground nearby were 2 Windsor bolts.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
I think I'm thinking too far ahead. Can I get a hint? Can I get a hint?
Are you sure about that?
No. I think I'm just gonna go down the list because I cannot for the life of me figure this out.
Back to it, Desmond.
Oh, okay, I think I see it now. Just because Dale was capable of some aspects of this doesn't mean he was capable of all aspects.
Nicely deduced.
Detail easy to receive, but one that has quite important consequences. All because the shift was in neutral? I don't understand. Alright, solve that one. Once again, you can never forget the narrative your evidence has already established. We know the attack on Ida took place in her home, and we know her body had to have been driven by her fender to the disposal site.
Right.
Maybe with a long arm cast, he could have strangled Ida, perhaps even with some struggling moved her car. But driving a stick shift without this movement in his elbow, that sounds highly unlikely, if not impossible. Oh. Unlikely is certainly impossible, but not necessarily. It was convincing enough to point through investigators to run reenactment with them. Given his frame, the size of the car, the cast, they were all convinced. It all proved too physically awkward to be possible. Oh.
If that's the case...
If Dale couldn't have driven Ida's car, then holding him as a suspect is quite problematic. We can point fingers at his past to justify he's fit, but we'd be wasting time that's better spent on the remaining two. Intriguing as this is, you still can't draw conclusions just yet, not when there's one more suspect to be unanswered for. What? Another suspect? What are they talking about? Proof Dennis was Ida's client. I have no proof that he was his client. Loose clothes?
Are you sure about
No?
that?
Condom? Maybe his car being seen can explain... Maybe his car being seen can be explained away like he did in the letter, but maybe with this. But if it turns out one of these condoms are a blood type match to Dennis, surely that makes it hard for him to deny. Especially so when you consider that the two more recently used condoms were a match for a rare AB blood type. The same rare AB blood type, in fact, as our suspect here, Dennis Clay. Oh my god, it was condoms, Rose! As you can imagine, Dennis didn't take well this information, listen to his follow-up statement, see what you make of it. And to keep in mind, Desmond, motivation could be tricky, perhaps drive for violence, or perhaps something else entirely. What? Dennis' second alibi. Look, it was stupid. I got me a tip on the CB, she was good for it, but I swear, we done it, I paid her, and then I left, that's it. Yeah, it was 2 times we done it, but there weren't no patients bad neither, all rushed like. Weren't there in an hour. We're near. Christ, what else I even want from her? I'm faithful and admitted now, okay? Can I just call my wife? Well, he's owned up to being a client at least. If it's the last part of his stolen statement, that makes a real question. Dennis's motive. Drugs. Now, this is about motive, like Lenore touched on, and not always just about violence, so what else would he want from Ida? Drugs. Money? Drugs? Also said he was into ropes. You're not wrong. This certainly has to do with Cheryl's statement. There is more particular evidence you'll need here, though. Let's for now take that as assumed knowledge. Concentrate on other information that supports the question even further. Okay. Well, he has the background with drugs.
Back to it, Desmond.
I'm only surface level. Might have been driven. Evidence suggesting why Dennis might have been driven to murder. Burris? If we're going to understand why Dennis was driven to do anything, the only we have to go by really is this. Indeed, which becomes quite incriminating once you consider the other evidence in the room.
Are you sure about
Okay,
that?
well, at least we got the one.
Back to it, Desmond.
Why Dennis might have been driven to murder. I mean, the whole infidelity thing. There was less than an hour.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know.
Back to it, Desmond.
Might have been driven to murder. Background. For the heck of it, that's why. I don't know.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know. I don't
Back
know
to
what
it,
I know.
Desmond.
Might have been driven to murder. I mean, Bonnie?
Are you sure about that?
Somehow Dennis and Bonnie are connected. I just saving to move. Oh, okay. Assume knowledge.
Back to it, Desmond.
Because he's a gator chaser. If we're gonna understand why Dennis was driven to do anything... Oh, we already done that. We only read that.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Okay. Oh no, he's just seemed like he needs money as well.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond. Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Might have been driven to murder. According to what Cheryl said, this jar here had been full of both money and drugs. Correct, so if you had proof Dale was after either, well... Okay, I didn't realize that empty jar was for the drugs. Someone took Ida's money and drugs, and then you're one of the last people with Ida with that kind of history.
Right.
We've already caught him outright in a lie about being a client. Now this, it's more suspicious. The evidence against him is really stacking up now. And with that, we've arrived at this rather interesting predicament. In all honesty, a rather luxurious problem as investigator to have two suspects rather than none, but even so. Would you believe both clearly have something to hide? Both can be placed there with Ida giving them opportunity. Gary's presence in their lives, Dennis's adultery and addictions. Neither wanted it known, both went out there to hide it. But it's the same problem. What's relevant to the murder, what's malicious, and what's just coincidence? That's perhaps the hardest part of this. How do you arrive at the final truth or fill in those final gaps of understanding? You can continue pressuring your suspects, and you will. Could you comb over your evidence? And you'll still do that too, but sometimes it's just that one last discovery that really brings everything into focus. You see that at the very moment these interviews were happening, James was found, alive, and perfectly well.
Oh?
Oh, really? That's
Really?
great, but where? What happened to him? Well, you've listened to their stories, heard the alibis so far, seen the evidence, so tell me, Desmond.
What do you think?
Who was the real reason? Who was the reason why James disappeared? An odd choice of words. The reason why James disappeared. I don't think Dennis had anything to do with it. I really wonder if Dale and Gary got into like an altercation over the kid. But Gary doesn't really seem to care about the kid. So I'm choosing Dale. I'd be inclined to think he went to the neighbor himself. Dale's a friendly place, nearby, secure. I suppose I could see that, assuming Dale had somewhere else to take the boy that isn't under the noses of investigators. But why hide the boy in the first place? Nothing in the evidence suggests at all that he'd behave this way. What we do have is actual proof pointing at Gary having lived with Ida and James, of radioing with the boy and lying about it. And as it turned out, James was located inside a cafe in Colditch Creek, Gary's hometown, as you may recall. He spent a day waiting there, no purchases. Eventually, the manager called the police, who in turn recognized him from the bolo. That's be on the lookout. I'm not sure I follow. He was waiting. Gary left them there at the cafe. That's just it. Gary had never taken him. No one had. He'd gone on his own free will. According to him, he found Ida, her body, while she was still in their home, and had simply fled. No clothes, no suitcase, just $20 in change, 2 used bus tickets, and this. I can't see what it is! This is here is James, the man with him. Likely Gary, but that's not for certain. I can't see what it is! The cafe behind them is in fact the same Colditch Creek cafe that James had been found in. I see, so not much kidnapping as kind of a runaway. With this as a guide? The cafe was as far as he knew to go. It took him that time to find it, and they didn't know what to do but wait. It would seem that way, yes. It's likely this was the only way he knew how to look for Gary. This wasn't about his father taking him, but James wanting to be with his father. One of these men is a murderer, and now we will have to interview with only one there to witness any of it. You also have some last statements from our suspects here as well. That's a few pieces of new evidence now. But Desmond, this is it. That's the last of the physical evidence. The rest is now up to you. Yeah, how can I get rid of this screen? That's it? That doesn't seem like enough somehow to put this to bed. An abandoned boy, 3 suspects, and a photo, and among them it seems the answer to caused all of this. Can I get rid of this? Can I get rid of freaking Dennis's statements? Oh, no. No. Okay, let's see more statements here. What drugs? Drugs? What drugs? A jar? Jesus, look, I ain't got no clue what y'all talking about. Oh God, huh? No, sir. We were nothing unsuspecting. We discussed it. She was fine with it. Then I barely finished my smoke before I'm out. Paid her 30 because of the 2 times, then well, that's it. I left. I mean, does that any of that help? I don't know what else ain't been said. Look, I'll be straight with y'all. As God is my witness, I'm unfaithful, I done bad, I sinned. Now you want to confess. Sorry, what they discussed? What does that even mean? What was Dennis's agreement? Seems it was important enough to come up in the interview, but how do I work out what occurred in such a private situation? Gary, the other man. Look, what does it matter if the boy's calling me, if I was in Hickory? I mean, y'all can poke holes in this or that, but end of the day, I still ain't done nothing, ain't seen the whore, ain't stepped foot in her whore home, nothing that, not in years. Look, why the hell ain't y'all with that feller I done told y'all about? I know he'd been there. I mean, Christ, the boy was calling me about it. Scared he was, shaking, his voice was like, and y'all here, pestering about radios and clothes, goddamn. How can I read this so smoothly? I really love it. As much as I don't trust Gary, this could be insincere. I suppose if anything is going to help me find truth in this. Was Gary recently inside Ida's home? We still don't actually have Gary placed there, do we? And if we can't place him at the crime scene itself, it's hard to disagree with him. If we can, though. All right, let's talk to the kid. I went in her bedroom, and she was laying there, not moving like. This was after a man came in that black car. It's outside waiting for Ma, but she weren't coming out. Sold some things to Ma's at the gas and go. Caught a bus when I come by. I was at a station a while, and then another bus took me to Colditch. A black car? That must have been... If he was the last person with Ida before James found her, that's quite damning.
Okay.
Wow, it's so definitive. And yet Lenore would play devil's advocate, wouldn't she? No stones unturned, so let's keep this in mind. Why Colditch? My pa, he's what took care of me. He's asking on me. bringing something special for me, like eating or what have you. He weren't mean like she was, Ma. She never gave me nothing except lip, maybe a lock of lizard, is what she was. She been nice to them men that come by, every one of them, like turning on a light and then off again when they done and gone. So Gary gave him food? Brought him treats. Can I get rid of this so it doesn't... What was Dennis's agreement he and Ida made? I think she knew that he killed Bonnie. And he smoked.
Are you sure about that?
Okay, it's not.
You can do better than that.
You, again, might not the best.
Back to it, Desmond.
Evidence suggestive of the agreement that Dennis and Ida made. Had one smoke, paid Ida 30. I sinned. The lighter. I thought there was something intriguing about these marks on his wrist, the similarity to what we see with Ida and even Bonnie too. Only for him, his was intentional. Pre-discussed even, it would seem.
Are you sure about that?
At least the injury is...
Back to it, Desmond.
Evidence.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond. Are you sure about that? Back to it,
Suggestive of the agreement that Desmond, Dennis, and Ida made. Certainly to do with Cheryl's statement, there is more particular evidence you need here, though. Okay.
Back to it,
So I'm
Desmond.
close. Ida's partners. Talked tricks. Can we... Suggestive of the agreement.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Wrist.
Are you sure about that?
No.
Back to it, Desmond.
Evidence suggestive of the agreement Dennis and Ida made. Indentations?
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Suggestive. What's his face talking about the other guy?
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Did she want Dennis to frame Gary? Oh, I'm going in circles.
Are you sure?
Oh,
about
I'm
that?
going in circles.
Back to it, Desmond.
The clothes found in her car.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Back to it, Desmond.
Do we want the list? I thought there was something intriguing about these marks on his. Oh, I thought I was getting it right.
Are you sure
Damn
about
it.
that? Back to it, Desmond.
Of course.
Oh, this is about as close a record as we get of Ida agreeing anything with her clients. Considering that actually it's not at all hard to see what this agreement might have been. I don't understand, but it worked.
Nicely deduced.
You were right to hone in on this, as simple or even as private as this may seem. It's the implications of what this means for the rest of the case. Yeah, I think I'm beginning to see that now. Ah! The handles we know, but for the rest of it here, it's all about client preferences. And while the ropes part is fairly clear, it's the interference about these clients that's actually the critical detail. It can be inferred that the clients denoted with ropes. They like to tie. Only Dennis likes to be tied? No. They like to be tied. Desmond's abrasions are proof that he himself was tied, likely by Ida as per their agreement, just as she written down.
I wonder.
Could it be the ropes listings are for clients that like to be tied by Ida?
Not quite, Desmond.
Oh, Dennis did prefer being tied, just as you say, but then what do you suppose the S there denotes? Dom and sub, particularly when other clients with rope lists, including Gary, have a D, but we know Gary doesn't have these abrasions, so of course, yeah, I see. If that's the case, S here suggests Dennis is submissive. This adversely, Gary is dominant. Rather than wanting to be tied, he had a preference for tying Ida. So hold on, the abrasions, what we see on Ida then. I'd assume she'd been forcefully restrained, but can it be that did Ida consent to being tied up?
Perhaps.
It's certainly possible given the evidence, not just for Ida for that matter. Gary. 2 sex workers out of the same small community with wrist abrasions and a client with a proclivity for ropes. Don't get too excited, Desmond. It certainly could have made this easier for Gary, but there's still more to be said about this case yet. See what you can make of Gary's last statement. We'll see what loose ends we can start to be tied up. Was Gary recently inside Ida's home? It would make sense because her wrists. And then also the kid said that he brings them treats. Oh, what about James? What about James? Eagered. With the face cut off, it's not certain this is Gary. Just likely, I suppose. The gentle arm around James. It's a different belt buckle. The flannel and jeans, though they're hardly unique. This must have been from an earlier visit to James made to Colditch Creek. He looks happy. Considering Gary had a second family living there, probably a rare visit. I mean, the person taking the photo was probably Ida herself. Luckett's Cafe in Colditch Creek. James had made his way there on his own hopes of finding his father, Gary. Lenore had said she had $20 in change, a used bus ticket, and this photo, like chasing down a memory of somewhere better. And they had to be in recently of her home because of the toothbrushes.
Are you sure about that?
No?
You can do better than that.
Oh.
Back to
Evidence suggesting Gary had been inside Ida's home recently. I would think because of Ida's wrists. Okay. If Gary was dominant with ropes... Also, the third condom. Condoms, Rose. Oh, two. Two more underneath, not matching.
Are you sure about that?
The condom, sure, it would certainly set up quite the case against him if he was proven to be with Ida in that capacity. A good idea, Desmond, but no, the condoms could not be forensically matched to him. Swing and miss this one. Yeah.
Back to it, Desmond.
Okay. Photo. Photo. And the boy. Change. Looks happy. Had been inside. What about the statements? That's what I meant to look at. Is it stole things Amaz caught to have been inside? Mon bedroom. Stole things Amaz. How took care of him. Brought him treats.
Are you sure about that?
Okay, not the photo frame.
You can do better than that.
Damn.
Back to it, Desmond.
Evidence suggesting Gary had been inside Ida's home recently. The clothes in her car. I feel like her wrists, the wrists. He was dominant.
Are you sure about that? You can do better than that. Back to it, Desmond.
I have to say, to find something so important amongst something as trivial as garbage on the floor. I didn't think much of it at all to begin with, why would I? But now, in light of all the evidence that we have...
Are you sure about that?
Are you sure about that?
Desmond.
Did I already say the photo frames? Are the indentations here? She had his initials.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
And I see... bruising... flannel jeans.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Likely getting rid of them. Calls Ida clingy. Background. He has the background of falsifying things.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Injury?
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Been inside Ida's home recently. I feel like the kid would say something. In the photo? I have to say, to find something so important amongst something as trivial... I already read this before.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Okay. James said... Okay.
Are you sure about that? Back
Her
to
voice
it.
saying, "Are you sure about that?" is gonna haunt my nightmares. What about Bonnie? Sheets. Were the clothes not evidence? I mean,
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
the toothbrush. Cosmetic products.
Are you sure about that?
No.
Back to it, Desmond.
Garbage on the floor. I think we've already tried drawers, but I'm gonna try it again.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Why did he catch 2 buses to Colditch?
Are you sure about that?
So she
Back
said
to
that...
it, Desmond.
No, it didn't really indicate that I was close, but she did say... cheap food. Wasn't there something about cheap... So who said something about cheap food? Did Gary say anything about cheap food? Change was found. Change and use bus ticket. Happy. Full beard. He's clean shaven right now. He's clean shaven, but not in the picture.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond. Are you sure about
No! Listen to me!
that? Back to it, Desmond.
Am I missing a piece of evidence somewhere? No, I think think it told me that I had all the evidence. But I'm thinking... he's clean shaven. Are we sure that's all that was found in her apartment? The pie box. Oh, well, we knew that. Damn it. So I'm certain that this is Gary. Gentle arms, flannel and jeans, though they're hardly unique. The man has a full beard, depicting a road winding through trees. That would, I mean, his name. This is not working out. The belt buckle would have to be him. He's just shaved because his name is Deep Forest.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Why aren't they counting the 3 toothbrushes?
About that? Back to it, Desmond.
I feel like I know the answer to this in my head. It's just hard to find the correct clue. Place.
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
DF. What were the indentations? GC was Gator Chaser. DF circled. That's scary. I put this in here though.
Are you sure about that?
I'm
Back to
not.
it, Desmond.
And I've already put this in where he said that she was impatient. He was there less than an hour. So what happened between?
Are you sure about that? Back to it, Desmond.
It has to be her wrist, but it's not working out for me. I have all the evidence I need. Why is nothing? Oh. Oh my god, I finally solved it. You're onto something there. Hopefully the right something. I don't even know what he said to begin with. Okay, that took way too long. That took way too long to connect those dots. I'm actually really upset with the game, and it's a day later, and I'm just solving this, so... Yeah, I literally went through every single piece of evidence I had until I figured it out. I thought I tried the cafe, but evidently not. I didn't think that was related. Suspicious, isn't it? How does a pie from Gary's hometown arrive in Ida's home? Every step of the way, Gary's talked himself out of his ties to this family, and yet every lie puts him closer still. Yes, well, he seemed to have seen the writing on the wall too, and that is going nowhere good for him. He refused any further participation at this point in the interview and demanded a lawyer. As much as Gary's guilt grows, you can't simply ignore the evidence against Dennis either. I doubt James' testimony about Ida's final visitor wasn't lost on him.
Right.
Right, no, it wasn't. For one reason or another, they both seem guilty. So something has to give here. If this is all the evidence we'll get, then there's something that separates the two. You said it just before, didn't you? The loose ends? I know there's a number of things to get back to here. Where do I start? I was waiting to fall into perspective. Go back to the beginning, break this down to its main elements. Do you recall what I taught in the BSU's approach to this? The categorization of offender behaviors.
Oh?
Right. Classifying offender behaviors as either organized or disorganized. And organized killers will plan their crimes in advance, bring weapons or restraints with them, target specific types of victims. A disorganized killer is more spontaneous. They attack victims of opportunity, use weapons that are available in the moment. These terms are largely the culmination of what we've already discussed. There's not much new here. As a framework, though, it should help you find what's important in solving this.
So then, Desmond, tell me.
What would you say Bonner's murder was committed by someone organized or disorganized? Plans crimes in advance, bring weapons and restraints with them, target specific types of victims, act spontaneously, uses weapons or restraint that are available in the moment, attacks victims of opportunity. Well, I guess what we reviewed in the first bit of this, I thought Bonnie's was pretty staged. Like they wanted it to be found because they left her handbag there, you know? And they said they wanted to humiliate her. I don't know. Is this organized if they left her ID behind? Everything about Bonnie was controlled. This is someone who had a plan and pulled it off just the way he intended. If there's not a chance, I would go as far as to say he had everything he needed with him to ensure that it went the way he wanted.
Exactly.
I would agree too, particularly considering how closely all the ligature marks all seem to come from the same material. So this reads more as an offender who has premeditated his murder and is waiting for a sex worker to allow him to tie her.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense, which inevitably takes us to Ida, doesn't it? If Bonnie's murder was organized, then how do we consider Ida's? It seems a bit more complicated than just one or the other. We'll try to weigh up all the factors of the murder itself. What is more likely, that it was planned or of the moment? It was of the moment, I would think. It seemed very disorganized. Here it's adversely the mismatching ligature marks. Why tie her up with one kind just to strangle her with another? The beating, too, it just seems that for what went as planned with Bonnie, it all went differently with Ida.
Nicely deduced.
Despite the similarities that can be found, it is the differences that flag an impulsiveness. This attack was simply not from a man with the same level of control or premeditation. This was someone acting in the moment. Right, so even if he did indulge some of his usual rituals, he didn't necessarily go to Ida's at home with the intention to kill. There were efforts to regain control, though. Her redressing, hiding her body, the cleaning, moving evidence.
Now you're getting somewhere.
Because this inability to avoid some of his habits and the attempt to hide them are part of his downfall.
Oh? Really?
So he knew these rituals could link him to Bonnie, but by them hiding them at Ida's crime scene, who we know he was the murderer? So we knew these rituals could link him to Bonnie, but by hiding them at Ida's. Something from Bonnie's crime scene should be at Ida's, but it's not. We have a statement telling us as much. This is more than enough to put it all together now, Desmond. The how, what, the why, and the who. But what you think tells a story into a closing statement. No more guessing games. Time to see if you can close this out. So we can't make an error. A closing statement. Yet it feels like so much of this is in the air. Well, somewhere there are the answers. All I can do is work through it, tell the story, as Lenore put it, see where it takes me. Theory. Closing theory. Whichever this way goes, the murderer had to have been a client. Both were in Ida's home recently, so who was the last? The disorganized nature of Ida's murder means the weapon used to strangle her was likely improvised. The answer must be there in the evidence. This has to be one of the biggest unanswered questions. I have a feeling this will come down to what we know about our murderer, what we expected him to do. Lenore squared in on this. The ritual's murder followed, so which habit did the murderer leave with Bonnie, but were moved from Ida? Underpants. Apparently because of what someone said in a statement, something that should be there, but which statement is Lenore referring to? Lastly, the motive. It doesn't seem to fit with any kind of jealousy issue. Both these men were well aware of Ida's work. Discounting that, though, going by evidence we have, let's see. These seem to be the clearest possibilities that have appeared throughout the evidence. There must be something that singles one out. So there it is. Who, how, what, and why. The thing is clearly leads on to either suspect, at least yet. So what is about the ritual that Lenore sees as being so pivotal in this?
Well, we've come this far.
But if I can't figure this out, then whatever I've proven up until here now will be all for naught. The last client to see her alive? Alive? Would have to have been Clay, wouldn't it? Did I check this? Or will I be wrong? There's only 2 client names from Ida's black book that fit here. That's the evidence I should be using, not this. Oh. So they want his nickname. The Gator Chaser? Dennis Clay or Gator Chaser. Are there nerve signs of an innocent man over his head or a murderer just sprit and cornered? It can only be Gary or Dennis at this point. Let's see if I have the evidence to back this up. Okay, I'll just keep a track of it like this, at least until I commit my theory to Lenore. This evidence might seem to fit, but I have a feeling it's not the only way we could look at this. Where can the weapon be used to strangle Ida be seen? Man, if this was last night when I was really locked into this game, I would care. But it really, guessing Gary's whereabouts really wound me down last night. And since then I've streamed and now my allergies are kicking in and I'm just a grumpy gills. Where could the weapon used to strangle Ida be seen? Is it the sheet? No, I don't think this is it. Key has to be a mark left on Ida's neck. I'm sure I've seen something like it amongst the evidence. You mean the underpants? Strange shape, but I'm fairly sure it's marked from a ligature, thick with a circular shape of some sort on the end. Thick with a circular shape. Despite the beating, I would think this was the strangulation that killed her. Thick with... We haven't really discussed that, but... What the heck? I feel like we haven't even talked about the weapon. Items on the counter, garbage on the floor. This is reaching, but would it be the belt the man is wearing in the picture? I knew the circular mark on Ida's neck was unusual. In the context of an unplanned attack, a belt with a large buckle does fit as an improvised ligature. Afterwards, the carpet was cleaned to hide. Which evidence shows the reason bleach was used in Ida's home? The carpet? Which evidence shows the reason bleach was used in Ida's home? I mean, it had blood on it. Being removed from the carpet right over the scuff marks, it's part of a struggle, I'm sure. Oh, her feet? Doesn't seem right. Which evidence shows the reason bleach was used in Ida's home? I mean, the carpet. I don't know. The wording of some of these questions make me doubt every single thing. Yeah. The bleach bottle? This was about what the bleach was cleaning, though, rather than the bleach itself. What evidence shows the reason bleach was used in Ida's home? I mean, it was on the carpet. The reason bleach was used in Ida's home. Her nosebleed? We know the post-offense behaviors were all about covering tracks. What else would it be other than cleaning up evidence of blood? Okay. The ritual evidence was at Bonnie's crime scene. Which statement proved it should be at Ida's? What ritual evidence was at Bonnie's crime scene? Proves it should be at Ida's. The cigarettes? And the underwear? If it isn't a statement or evidence from Bonnie's crime scene, it's not what we're after here. Oh. Of all the repeat behaviors, the strangulation, wrist tied, and the gag, apart from the weapon use, they've all been accounted for with Ida. But this was also a part of the ritual? Okay. And then, should it be the shoes? Well, that's not what must be said by someone, by anyone that relates to anything we see in Bonnie's photo. What could possibly have been said by someone? Oh, Clay's statement that he smoked there? It was rambling statement, really, clawing at anything that could deflect attention away from him. But this line here about what he left behind, I think I see what Lenore means now. The implication of this, if that's the case, then... I passed these cigarettes off by Bonnie as kind of a boldness from the killer, but this adds up. The butts by Bonnie were Windsor Bolts. We know Dennis smokes them, but we've seen a packet of them on him. And yet, even though Dennis claims to have had a smoke before leaving Ida's, her ashtray only accounts for Red Valley cigarettes. Yeah.
It has to be.
There should be at least one Windsor Bolt at Ida's, but there isn't. Uh-huh. It's likely Ida's murder was triggered by money, drugs, or child support. I don't think it had anything to do with... Was it drugs? I don't want to... I'm gonna mess up. I'm gonna lose this case because I was so discombobulated. I blamed the game. I don't know, this feels wrong. I know it in my gut. Can we save beforehand? No? I don't know why. I don't know though. Drugs? don't know. I just have this feeling like Gary did it. For child support. I just feel like that. I know. Oh, y'all can't even see this. I'm sorry. I apologize. So this is kind of what my theory is looking like right now. But I did have Clay as the last one being deceased, because just because Clay last saw her alive doesn't mean he's the last person to be with her, you know? I don't know. I'm so... Would it really have been drugs? That's all I can think, because I don't think money was a thing. Unless Ida was the one demanding the money. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with this. I don't know why... Maybe he was just trying to frame Gary? I don't know. I'm so confused by the cigarettes and everything, too. Let's see. We're gonna lose. Ready to present your final theory? I'm sure you're quite excited to do so, but let me be clear. Had you been in the field on this theory, this is what you would present for an arrest warrant. So then, Desmond, tell me, have you thought it all through carefully? This is not the one you play guessing games on. I'm scared.
Desmond.
Oh, this evidence, these accusations here, you're targeting two different suspects with them. So, and what are you even imagining is the guilty one here? Go back in this time and look for evidence that works toward building the same theory. So was it possible that Bonnie was in... I can't change? I've broken the game. Have I broken the game? Okay. It's not letting me change anything, though. Oh no, I think I've broken the game. It's not letting me click anything. Ugh. This game could have been good. Could have been really good. Okay, we can fix it again. And my webcam is opposite. I'm not worried about that. God. You know what? Let's just say Gary. Let's just blame Gary. It's so weird though because of the car. The rental car. It feels so wrong. Good, let's see what you have here. I'm gonna lose. Last client to see Ida alive is Gary Warren, otherwise known as Deep Forest.
So then,
Intriguing.
Desmond, tell me.
To get us started, how did you arrive at his belt and the murder weapon? It comes down to the only indicator we have, the mark made by the ligature on Ida's neck. It's a circular shape with a thicker band than usual, too. There was only one type of object in a case that fit. The trucker's belt in Gary's case, unlike both Dale and Dennis, lack of it one entirely. So what happened to it? Knowing this level of caution, the danger of forensic testing on it, my guess is it's long gone. Importantly, too, it fits the behaviors of the crime. What better ligature than what's immediately on hand?
Not bad.
These ligature marks aren't always easy to identify. Meow. Then there's the post-offense behavior, starting with a carpet. Care to elaborate on what was likely removed? The only thing we can prove from our evidence would have been contaminated the area where Ida was attacked. Blood. We know there was blood from Ida. There were traces on her face, on the sheet that moved her, so... Perhaps the scratches can be overlooked, then the bleach mark, but in a pool of Ida's blood? If this was about delaying discovery, of distancing himself for as long as possible from this, then it had to go. I see. Okay, then. Arguably the most significant post-offense behavior. Seems like you worked it out after all. With Dennis's Windsor Bold cigarette missing from Ida's ashtray, someone had to have moved it.
Why, though?
Yeah, why? For Gary, it fits right into what he's always doing, hiding all traces of himself from Ida's home. Why else would he remove them? He's a man of rituals, after all, and it was one last habit he couldn't help himself doing. 2 smokes after the work was done? Alright, reasonably compelling, Desmond. Question is... For him to have done this without premeditation, what could have triggered such a violent attack?
Here's what I'm thinking.
Certainly a tricky one, but here's what I'm thinking. It seems to me that someone took Ida's savings. Probably Gary, but I think that was rather incidental. It wasn't the root cause. The support Gary had been giving, though, the insurance on James, had stopped. He'd said himself he wasn't giving them anything else. The garbage on the floor, the circling of DF on the schedule, Ida just seemed exhausted and desperate for his help. You certainly thought this all through, I'll give you that. Only, I do have just one last question. Think about this carefully because it matters quite a bit in tightening your case overall. Out of all this evidence, what would you present that incriminates your suspect as the last person most likely to see Ida alive? What? The evidence that convinces he was the last to see her alive was... the garbage on the floor? Alright, intriguing. Well, Desmond, I have to give it to you. I asked for a story and you certainly gave me one. Thing is...
Are you sure about that?
What, the right details? What is even the suspect? Let's see once and for all how close you were. You were in fact correct, but Gary at least, but you did make a number of mistakes getting there. Getting your guy is one thing, but Desmond, these slips would likely see you losing your warrant. From here, we can briefly discuss it, go over some of the finer details and motivations, a chance to clear some up, too. Well, I guess they fought over money, not necessarily child support. They're technically the same thing. Gosh, what would have covered? Sometimes, though, it can help to go over material yourself in your own time, dissect it in your own way, up to you. I really thought I had it. Where did I go wrong? Imagine solving it differently. Is this really how this was meant to play out after all this effort, just to fall apart at the very end? Can't be. If I'd had the chance again, what could I have done differently? Ugh! Okay. Triggered by money. The carpet was clean to hide. Hi. What would it have tried to hide? Did it say the repeat behavior removed from Ida's? But it's right, though. It's checked off. We know post-offense behaviors were all about covering tracks, but also be other than cleaning up evidence of blood. His blood. Was this right? Yeah. All right. See what we have again. Do we really have to go through all this?
So then, Desmond, tell me.
I'm gonna scroll through all this.
Not bad.
But going on this injury, she clearly put up a fight, enough that it fed directly into his biggest concern, leaving evidence of himself, something he's shown time and time again to be the most cautious about. I see, okay then. Arguably the most, okay, many. With Dennis Windsor's both cigarettes moving from Ida's ashtray, someone had to have moved it.
Why?
But why though? That's the real question. Yeah. For Gary, it fits right into what he's always been doing. Okay, we've read this before. For him to have done this without premeditation, what could have triggered such a violent attack?
Here's what I'm thinking.
Certainly a tricky one, but here's what I'm thinking. It comes down to Cheryl's statement about Ida's jar and what used to be inside it. But the thing is, he couldn't have taken the drugs. It actually goes against the evidence. If Ida had saved like Cheryl said, and James didn't find any, it's a process of elimination more than anything. I certainly thought this all through, I'll give you that. Only I do have just one last question. Think about this carefully because it matters quite a bit, tightening your case overall. I should say the indentations. I don't know, I panicked at that one. All right, intriguing. Okay. Did we do it?
Are you sure about that?
Let's see. We did it. You were, in fact, exactly right on all counts.
Nicely deduced.
That was excellent work. I'm quite impressed. That being said, though, there's value in breaking this down in detail, particularly, though, when I have a question for you two for you yet.
Well, I've come this far.
Let's start with the statement James made against Dennis, or rather Gary. He was most certainly taken seriously, but so, James' behavior suggested a reason not to fully trust what he had to say. You recall Gary referred to Ida with an unusual turn, a rather derogatory label for sex workers operating on truck stops. The lot lizard.
Ah, okay.
I did wonder what he meant by lot lizard. I believe I know where this is going, though. A similar comment from James made, only he stumbled over the wording. A lock lizard. Surely that comes from a place of misunderstanding on what he's hearing too, right?
Perhaps.
Most importantly, this mimicry of himself reveals James' tendency to repeat what he hears from his father. Gary had tried to deflect attention to Dennis to his interview, so it's not difficult to imagine. James was simply saying that Gary wanted him to, knowing the whole time that his father was the last one with his mother.
Exactly.
He was hiding. Oh boy. Now as for the weapon. It was indeed a belt with a large rounded buckle. Forensic testing proved as much. The bruising matched perfectly with a sourced replica of this exact buckle seen here, and we could do more to assume that this is Gary's. Truckers take on their handles as part of their identity. Like you said, it was the same with Gary. The buckle, a red bending into trees, a man with a tendency to take back roads, deep forest. Then we have the carpet stain. We only need to take a look at Gary to know he had quite the injury to his nose, and surely one that had bled, profusely even. Blood was evidently recovered from deeper in the carpet pad. It did indeed match to Gary's type, not Dale's, Dennis's, or even Ida's. As a rather common blood type, though, hardly definitive, so what comes down to is offender behavior. You said it exactly. This fits Gary. Blood test aside, it wouldn't make sense for Dennis to remove only half of the forensic evidence. Which brings us similar to my own question. The proof of who was last with Ida. Between the pie and the condoms, there was indeed incriminating evidence against both men in the garbage. However, neither places one there before the other definitively. The statements against Dennis we've also dealt with. I did consider how Ida rushed Dennis, that she clearly had to follow up visitor, but there's no way of proving that was Gary either. The schedule Ida made for the day, though, of course, all the evidence, that's the one that's time-sensitive and free from manipulation.
Right.
The GC and the notepad indentations can only fit one name in all the evidence, Gator Chaser.
If that's the case,
Then there's one more reasonable to assume DF follows the same logic. Remember when we thought it was Fields? I wondered why you were so skeptical when I suggested the last to see Ida on her list, DF was Dale. Now I know why. If these are handles, then this deep forest, not Dale. Gary has always meant to be the last there that day. And now for our final point, the why. A rather nuanced and difficult summation to make with what we have. Let's start with Ida's work. Tell me, where will we find information on Ida? Charge these men for their services. The black books. It would have been Ida's black book, at least based on what Dennis mentioned.
If that's the case.
30 for the 2 times, so then 15 for each, if that's the case. Simply doesn't match the indentation on Ida's notepad. Those numbers were likely time-related rather than money. That's what I thought all along, that he was 11 and he was 3 o'clock. The black book listings, however... It's right there, 15 for Dennis, just like you said, or perhaps even more importantly, 0 for Gary. Never noticed that. Oh, from what we can see here, she chose not to. Dennis being in a relationship with Ida or being asked for money than he is paid is purely speculative. So let's move past that. If Ida wasn't after anyone's support, then that just leaves Ida's drugs or money, or lack thereof. The only thing is, based on what someone told us in their statements, it couldn't have been the drugs, so then tell me.
why is that?
If the drugs weren't there, then someone should have taken them, right? Based on statements, the person who took, I think, Dennis. Dennis Clay, right? Why is Dale in here? Dennis, because he was feeling guilty about it. It had to have been Dennis, right? He was always on the right in the spotlight for us, with his past marital problems over it. And yet there's no paint sticking with the initial impressions of evidence when something stronger comes along to challenge it. Think back to James' testimony about making his way to Colditch Creek. Do you remember what he said? 2 bus tickets.
Could it be?
Didn't he say he'd sold something? Oh, it could be. Oh, he sold drugs? Sold some of the things in Maz at the Gas and Go, caught a bus that came by. As at a station a while as another other bus would make Colditch.
Yeah, right.
Ida didn't really seem to own much, so what else would he have that kind of value?
Exactly.
Somewhere between Dennis paying Ida and James leaving Colditch, that money vanished. But the drugs. It's hard to imagine, though, all of this for what? It seems so complicated, really.
It was right there in front of me.
It all adds up. Of course, Ida didn't want anything from Gary. He hadn't called her needy or greedy. He called her clingy. She wanted something from him that he wasn't willing to give. So the initials circled in like that, Ida rushing Dennis, James finding Gary over the CV. This isn't any old visit. This was a rare visit. Ida and James, they were excited for it. Gary was at least telling the truth about keeping distance, wasn't he? And in the meantime, Ida had worked and saved, according to Cheryl. To get out of here, where else but to the place she kept framed by her bedside, Colditch Creek. And then he finally did see her again, saw what she'd saved.
Perhaps.
Also, her expectations of him, though. It was likely more complicated than just money. Once you dig deeper, This is not a man who tolerates feelings of restriction too well. His first marriage and logbooks are a testament to that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I can see how those profiles quickly become increasingly complex as you look further into them. It's just, well, speaking of digging deeper though, this case, I don't know. Something about this still doesn't feel complete though. It seems to me there's more than what we see here. I mean, Ida's murder was messy, sure, but Bonnie's. Hers was clean, practiced, I'd even say. There's ritual here that's been done before, right? We've thrown this turnabout, serial murderer, if I'm not mistaken. It's a term given after at least 3 timed measured murderers, yes, well. Following Gary's arrest, a search of his property was conducted to secure the case against him with further evidence. Nothing seemed to be coming up, nothing except a small tin box, half buried beneath an old rusted-out steel drum behind the house. Inside were rather harmless, albeit unusual items, a pair of women's shoes, some loose buttons, and a lock of blonde hair.
It's there in the evidence.
Trophies! Thing is, there is in the evidence that we've had along the relevance of one of these objects. It was subtle, very much so, but if you did miss it, you can rely on logic to work this out regardless. Ida's shoes. Given to what you've seen of this murder so far, which of these do you think have widened the do you believe widened the investigation on Gary? Did Lenore suggest something here relates to her crime scenes, which wind the search, though? Women's shoes? Lock of hair? Women's shoes? Because Ida didn't have her shoes. The shoes were always an oddity in this case. Ida's missing the intentional placement of Bonnie's.
Perhaps.
But even if they did belong to either Bonnie or Ida, it would have little linking for Gary in further cases. Considering that there's 2 known victims, maybe more, we need to look into something that he has in number. As it would turn out, the hair and the shoes seem to have belonged to Gary's late mother. The buttons, however, oh, the buttons were like stupidly placed. Initially, one was matched to those on Ida's blouse. Closer examination revealed she was, in fact, missing the first button.
Huh.
Well, I'll be a detail as small as that. But then wouldn't that also mean... It is, isn't it? It's the same in Bonnie's photo, too. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it doesn't... I guess that one's missing. Okay.
In fact...
Another from the tin did, in fact, match to Bonnie's blouse, the top button once again having been removed.
Oh.
But if that's the case, these are some
If
kind of
that's
piecing
the case.
from Gary's victims. There were how many of the 10? Quite a few, right? That's what, 7? Was every single one really a wider search took some time, what with state borders nearby and information confusion that comes along with that. But it was Gary's repeated behaviors that eventually made it possible to close out 3 cold cases and link them back to him. Anita Kohler, Jane Erkins, Ashley Caldwell, 3 sex workers that went missing within 2 hours of Colditch Creek. 3 women who were found strangled, left by sides of various back roads. Oh God. That same thing, those same thin ligature marks, underwear gag, 2 Windsor bold butts, a missing button?
Exactly.
Exactly like Bonnie without the outlier Ida. This man might have been a lot more difficult to stop. 2 buttons remained unidentified, unfortunately. It's not easy, but we just have to take the win on the ones that had closure. And had you have been there, you would have confidently helped us solve a serial murder case. Congratulations. Thanks. It was intriguing and very enlightening to see how behavioral analysis is done effectively. I think I could really see myself doing this to see what this monster has done and to be sort of part of stopping it. Right, of course. You do. Well, if you take your notes with you, be discreet about it. We've broken enough protocols with what you've seen as it is. That will be all, though, Desmond. You're dismissed. Thank you. That's all. That was quite offhanded, wasn't it? Was it something I said? Is that really it? Wait, Lenore, man. Yes, did we miss something? Yes, well, I mean, no, not exactly.
Desmond.
This has been a long night as it is, so for the sake of our tired brains... Right, I guess I just... Do I actually want to ask something? A BSU recommendation? Ma'am, I would be grateful for your consideration should any recommendations be made on my behalf, ma'am.
Really?
Really? To the BSU? And that's what you wanted out of this? A job prospect?
Oh, well,
Maybe an inroad of some sort? I know this would be some years away after time in the field first. Not to mention actually graduating from here first.
Right.
Of course, that too. The truth is, you're only a student. You've got a long road of a career ahead. You've got a long road of a career path ahead of you and a lot more to learn before you can even enter the BSU. Quite frankly, Desmond, there's enough highly motivated intuitions of feelings in this place. Your reasoning, it's there in places, but it needs to be more reliable. At the very least, I intend to see this department develop into something that respects that. To become more than just horoscope colonists. Horoscope colonists? Really? If that's how Lenore sees the BSU, then... You don't agree with what the BSU is doing? That's what this is about? You're trying to influence the department to shift the curriculum after hours?
Not quite, Desmond.
I'm not sure I dare to expect so much, and there is more to inviting you than just
Desmond.
that. What you have here is vulnerability. You imitate this role. It's not really you.
Desmond.
I'm complimenting you. It's far better to pretend a bravado than actually identify yourself by it. We could do with a lot less of the latter, frankly. You have a clear sense of... You have a clear self of yourself internally. That must have been like sense of self. For better or for worse, profiling is being in touch with internalized worlds, after all. It just can't be that alone, without academic pairing. There's a real threat of projecting only yourself onto these murderers.
Right.
More cyclists, huh? Not what I had in mind, but it makes sense. Honestly, in a perfect world, perhaps, but... Look, you'll do fine. Keep your head down, study, commit to your course field assignment. I'm sure they'll have you. Despite knowing I did respond reasonably well in the case, I couldn't help but hear the cynicism at the edges of those final words. Over time, it made more sense. I'd learned Lenore was never accepted into BSU proper, sidelining training until she eventually chose to transfer out. I thought I was giving up, of knowing things, and would always fall short of what she hoped for, but in the end, there's strength in letting go of some things too. I did in the end spend some part of my career with the Behavioral Analysis Unit, as it was renamed, but it never did quite feel deserved. I often think back to this boy, his desire to impress, his need to be noticed. It's just a trap, a kind of void, an emptiness that can't be filled. I tried to stop letting it weigh on me, I really did. I guess some people are just stuck with it. And so I gave into it instead, in ways I never expected to, had never even imagined. Just like Lenore, there was peace in just letting some things go. Achieved the best ending! I did it. This is really blurry. I don't know if you'll see this picture, but it's so blurry. I could have used the better graphic there. I don't know. I came into this game having some kind of expectation. It definitely surpassed my expectations. However, some of the wording of the questions were very confusing and kind of took me out of it quite a bit. And having to just hear, are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? So many times. That it even made me want to quit and come back to it just to see. I was like, is the game broken? Am I broken? I think the writing was pretty solid for the most part. I'm still kind of confused at the cigarettes found on Bonnie's scene. So does that mean Gary smoked? But they didn't disclose that Gary smoked, so it was just kind of confusing. That kind of threw me off a little bit, but... Ah! 2019. The cafe where it all started. And the thing is about that cafe and the pie, relating to the pie, I guess Luckett's Cafe was the pie box, right? So that, okay. But those were the same pieces of evidence in a way. I don't know. I didn't really agree with that one question that left me for hours on end confused. Luckett's Cafe, Colditch Creek, well, I'll be. Hard to believe I'm really here and right where he stood too, or well, just about. 37 years. It can't be, can it? I couldn't tell you what I had for breakfast yesterday, yet this case. I remember it all just like it happened. 37 years since Gary Warren was arrested for 4 counts of murder. 1 for manslaughter. His prison is not even that far from here, actually. And yet this town, somehow, it's happening again. James. Whoa, she is right. They certainly are repeat behaviors. Despite what I told her, the cases are linked. Of course they are. Taylor Josie May. The only question is, how can I talk her out of looking into it? Those ligature marks are violent, though. I wouldn't mind playing another version of this game. I really wouldn't mind. I'm actually kind of excited to see us actually stepping into the crime scene, because I'm actually quite surprised that we did this all through evidence and statements and pictures. It'd be interesting to actually go on the scene and do more pointing and clicking, because that's what I was kind of expecting with this. I didn't know we'd be in an office looking at photos the whole dang time. But yeah, I think I definitely recommend this game, trying it out. Definitely not some kind of replayability there other than maybe getting a bad ending, but yeah, confusing at times, but all in all, I liked the music, most of the story, the voice acting. It was well done, and I really enjoyed it. And I don't know, maybe if it hadn't stumped me so bad, I would have completed it sooner, but here we are, a day later. I had started this game at like 6 p.m. last night, and I ended up quitting. It was like 10 or 11 or something like that, where I was just like, okay, I need to stop and go to bed. And now it's like almost 24 hours later, and yeah, finally got around to it. I even asked in the discussions, I was like, someone please give me a hint, but I've yet to get an answer from them. But now I can go back and say that I solved everything. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this content. I wasn't expecting to make it into a one-parter, but I think putting this all together into one video would make sense, it being like the same case and there's not really a change in environment or anything. So if you got through this video, thank you so much for sticking through it and watching. I hope you were just as intrigued by the case as I was, to getting down to solving it. Excited to see what becomes, if this is a series or not, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Big thanks to DANGEN Entertainment for sending a code over my way. Really enjoyed it. Would definitely play something like this again. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. And if you like this type of content from me, the pre-recording, if you would like to see more content like this in the future, please let me know if you want to comment or like the video. Just, yeah, that's all it takes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.